Chapter 2073. Get down. King Chunxing looked at Jian Wushuang coldly within the violent storm of divine power. Jian Wushuang stood up straight as numerous mirages of ancient gods appeared behind him. Ancient god, lost knowledge, universal laws. Boom, 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 boom. Every single mirage used its palm and slapped forward fiercely. Each slap seemed to contain a complete cycle of reincarnation. King Chunxing's face turned dark. His ancient god power burst forth as numerous mirages appeared behind him. It had been a battle between the strength of Ultimate Finger during the fight against Zhang Tsang before. Now, it was a battle between the universal law. The entire heaven and earth was overwhelmed by the endless divine power. All that one could hear was the countless number of tightly packed collisions as the sounds reverberated through the air. Amidst the raging collisions, humph! A snort could be heard as the numerous ancient god mirages belonging to King Chunxing dissipated into the air. He swiftly took a few steps back in retreat. How could this brat's divine power be so pure? King Chunxing thought. Even though he was startled, his face did not show any sign of fear. Secret skill. Guided thunder. Hum. Heaven and earth shook suddenly as a rift in heaven and earth appeared out of nowhere in the sky above. At the ends of this gigantic rift, beams of crimson red light appeared. These beams of light were countless bolts of sacred thunder of extermination packed densely together. Any single bolt of thunder could easily kill an almighty, and there were at least hundreds of thousands of bolts there. These hundreds of thousands of bolts of thunder fused together perfectly, forming a single, huge crimson thunderbolt. This bolt of thunder suddenly descended. Secret skill, guided thunder. Jian Wushuang saw this and smiled. I also know this move. A similar gigantic rift in heaven and earth appeared on the other side of the sky. However, from this rift, the countless sacred thunders of extermination were dark jade in color. The power of the thunder was unbelievably strong. Under the control of Jian Wushuang, the thunder fused together to form a huge thunder dragon, which was dark jade in color. The thunder dragon roared. As it rushed towards the crimson red thunderbolt, the two collided in midair. Kaboom! It was as though it was a bolt from the blue. However, the sound and power was far greater than that of a normal bolt. The two sacred thunder of extermination collided with devastating impact. The surrounding void dissipated completely and formed a space-time storm. Originally, there had been a complex of buildings beneath their feet. After the collision, all the buildings had been destroyed and ceased to exist. The terrifying aura shocked the ancient gods who had escaped. I have used almost all the attacks and secret skills from the ancient god lost knowledge. Next up is Jian Wushuang thought as he looked at King Chunxing coldly. At the same time, the size of his body grew rapidly. Heads and arms started to grow out of his body. This occurred to King Chunxing as well. Both had 9 heads and 18 arms. Kill. Fight. Following the war cry, both their fists collided fiercely into each other. This time, both of them fought with their bare fists. Each of the 18 arms Jian Wushuang had grown held a sword. He used his swordsmanship to the fullest. King Chunxing used the brute force of his fist. Each punch was like a meteorite crashing. The power was unbelievable. Fighting at melee range had always been a specialty of ancient god clan. Their fighting power at close range was far superior to that of the people in other clans. During the battle, Jian Wushuang and King Chunxing both maximized their ability to fight at close range. The ancient gods who were around watching this fight were stunned. Many cleared their throats as they shuddered in fear from the bottom of their soul. These two men were without a doubt the strongest within the ancient god clan. On one side was King Qinsheng, the man who was unanimously thought to be the strongest within the clan. On the other side was Jian Wushuang. He possessed the bloodline of emperors. Even though he was just an 8-star ancient god, his power level was still higher than that of King Qinsheng. Yes, he was stronger than King Qinsheng. Everyone witnessed it themselves. Jian Wushuang was stronger in every way, be it the power of his secret skill and lost knowledge, or his ability to fight at close range. Jian Wushuang managed to completely suppress King Qinsheng even now. Even though King Qinsheng did everything he could and was fighting back with all his might, it was still clear that he was at a disadvantage. How is this possible? This brat is just an 8-star ancient god. How can he be stronger than me? King Qinsheng thought to himself, shocked. His face was gloomy. King Qinsheng was a 9-star ancient god. Even though their ability to fight at close range was of the same level, Jian Wushuang could still suppress him head-on. This was because the power that came from Jian Wushuang's sword was stronger due to the superior divine power and the inhibition from the bloodline power. On the point of quality of divine power, Jian Wushuang was at the second phase of the 7th step of inverse cultivation. He had also finished cultivating phase 1 of his immemorial celestial body. Furthermore, he possessed the bloodline of emperors. Even though King Qinsheng was the heir to the first ancient god emperor, he was simply a royal ancient god. He would be weakened due to his inferior bloodline power. Hence, Jian Wushuang was definitely stronger than King Qinsheng. King Qinsheng was no match for Jian Wushuang due to the reasons above, and was oppressed in battle. King Qinsheng. An angry bellow was heard. King Qinsheng looked up immediately. He saw that 4 of Jian Wushuang's arms were gripping a single sword. A wave of shocking sword essence rose and skyrocketed. Sword Principal Xian, Lu, blast rainstorm. Get down! Jian Wushuang roared as his blade, with the speed of a gale and the power of a hurricane, swept out. The emphasis of this move was on the power. King Qinsheng's eyes turned bloodshot. He channeled his divine power as his fist punched out with a force equivalent to a real meteorite. Bang! An earth-shaking sound was heard as waves of divine power flooded the entire heaven and earth. The result, King Qinsheng fell towards the ground, trembling. A large ditch was formed. On the other hand, Jian Wushuang stood upright and unharmed. He looked down into the ditch. King Qinsheng, do you submit to me? Chapter 2074. Outrageously unreasonable. King Qinsheng, do you submit? The voice of Jian Wushuang was so loud that it could be heard above cloud 9. It was as though his voice represented the will of Heaven Wei as it reverberated through heaven and earth. Upon witnessing this sight, the surrounding ancient gods respected Jian Wushuang even more. Within the ditch, King Qinsheng stood and looked up. 2 thin rays of light burst forth. Jokes! King Qinsheng bellowed and tried to move. Jian Wushuang stood tall in the void. 4 of his hands gripped his blood mountain sword tightly. He used blast rainstorm from sword Principal Xian Luo again. Get down! Jian Wushuang bellowed. King Qinsheng, who was trying to fly out of the ditch, was once again flooded by sword lights. He dropped back into the ditch again. Do you submit? Jian Wushuang yelled once again. Bastard! King Qinsheng cursed. Jian Wushuang swung his sword once again. Boom! The entire earth shook. Do you submit? Jian Wushuang yelled again. You wish. King Qinsheng replied. Boom! Another wave of sword light came. Do you submit? You, boom! Do you submit? Never! Boom! Do you submit? The ancient gods watching this battle were dumbfounded. Their eyes widened as they saw the scene. They saw that Jian Wushuang kept on swinging his sword and kept on asking if King Qinsheng would submit. When King Qinsheng refused to submit, he would be met with another wave of sword light from Jian Wushuang. King Qinsheng was obviously a punching bag and had no chance to fight back. This method Jian Wushuang was using to get King Qinsheng to submit shocked the remaining ancient gods present. It was domineering and unreasonable. Yes, Jian Wushuang was like a gangster, utterly unreasonable and domineering. He did not waste any time with King Qinsheng by trying to persuade him to submit. He simply asked a simple question. Do you submit? If the reply was no, he would attack. Jian Wushuang would attack until King Qinsheng decided to submit, even though he was already buried in the ground. King Qinsheng was one of the most powerful 9-star ancient gods. His fighting power had reached stage 2, but he still was no match for Jian Wushuang. Boom, boom, boom. Jian Wushuang used the fuller to perform his sword skills. Each impact made a loud sound that could be heard clearly. Clearly, he was using power to suppress King Qinsheng. King Qinsheng had no chance to recover himself as the endless waves of sword skills collided with his back. In the blink of an eye, Jian Wushuang attacked numerous times. Each time he attacked, he asked King Qinsheng to submit. Initially, King Qinsheng would struggle madly and had wanted to fight back. After a while, he stopped. Boom. Another collision occurred, and King Qinsheng was completely buried underground. Do you submit? Jian Wushuang bellowed once more. At the bottom of the crater, King Qinsheng kept quiet. He thought for a while before he growled, I will only submit if you can be recognized by my father. Oh! Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrow as he stopped his sword in midair. King Qinsheng could finally catch his breath before he rose from the crater. King Qinsheng was in a bad state. His hair was messy, there were blood stains on his lips, and his silver armor had several gashes left by a sword. He stood there with anger in his eyes. However, there was fear too. Yes, fear. During the brief battle, he had become fearful of Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang had given him a mental scar from his unreasonable actions and his terrifying fighting power. Since his birth in the First Era till now, he had never met a person so unreasonable. To make matters worse, this person was stronger than him. King Qinsheng, you just said that if I could be recognized by your father, you would submit to me. Your father is the first ancient god emperor. How can I get his recognition? Jian Wushuang asked. King Qinsheng took a deep breath before he spoke. My father was one of the strongest men alive back in the First Era. Even though my father died when the First Era ended, he left behind a conscience within an old grave. This grave is located within the ancient god sanctuary. All you need to do is to enter the ancient emperor grave and gain the recognition of my father's conscience. If you can do so, I will support you in becoming our new emperor. I will listen to your orders without fail. However, if you cannot, I will never listen to you even if everyone else does. Ancient Emperor Grave. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. Master, within the ancient god sanctuary, there is an ancient emperor grave. According to legend, the ancient god emperor did leave a consciousness within. King Qinsheng is not lying. The king of venomous worms whispered to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang nodded his head lightly before looking at King Luoyu. King Luoyu, the voice reverberated in the air. Beside the pile of ruins of what used to be the estate, King Luoyu and the other ancient gods were waiting patiently. They saw what had just happened with their own eyes. At that point in time, King Luoyu, King Guyu, King Gutong, and the remaining ancient gods were dumbfounded. They came back to their senses after Jian Wushuang shouted for King Luoyu. They started walking towards Jian Wushuang. Those who supported King Qinsheng did not stop them. Sword Emperor King Luo Yu walked beside Jian Wushuang and saluted him. It was obvious that he respected the Sword Emperor even more than he had before. This was normal, as the only reason he supported Jian Wushuang in being the new emperor was because he had the bloodline of emperors. He had not considered the fighting power of the Sword Emperor. Now, King Qinsheng, who was a 9-star ancient god and had the fighting power of a stage 2 great emperor, had been crushed in a battle against the Sword Emperor. This fighting power alone surprised him, as he was fully convinced that the Sword Emperor had the ability to be the new emperor. Everyone else who had just watched the battle was convinced too. Even though bloodline power was supreme in the ancient god clan, they would still respect the people who were powerful. Jian Wushuang not only had the bloodline of emperors, he also had the strongest fighting power in the clan. To get the right to become the new emperor of the ancient god clan, one had to possess both qualities. Chapter 2075. Ancient Emperor S. Grave. King Luo Yu, do you know of his grave? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes, King Luo Yu said as he nodded his head. It was left behind by ancient god emperor. The conscience of ancient god emperor resides within the grave. It is our sanctuary. However, this grave opens once every million years. The last time the grave opened was around 300,000 years ago. If you want to enter, you will have to wait another 700,000 years. 700,000 years. Jian Wushuang looked at King Xingchen coldly as his face turned black. Are you trying to make a fool out of me? I have no intentions of making a fool out of you. It is true that it takes another 700,000 years for the ancient emperor's grave to open by itself. However, this grave is controlled by my father's conscience. If you are worthy, my father will open the grave and allow you to enter immediately. King Qinsheng grunted. Jian Wushuang hesitated before nodding his head. Okay, I will try to enter the ancient emperor's grave. Sword Emperor, King Qinsheng is trying to make your life difficult. You can afford to ignore him, as 99% of the ancient gods will support you in becoming the next ancient god emperor due to your superior bloodline power. King Luo Yu said anxiously. No worries, Jian Wushuang said, as he waved King Luo Yu off. He already knew what he had to do. Jian Wushuang did not think of killing or exiling King Qinsheng. King Qinsheng was a stage 2 great emperor and would prove to be crucial in the final battle against 3-emperor world. Furthermore, he could not help but respect the ability of King Qinsheng, as he had single-handedly molded the ancient god clan into one of the strongest clans in the era. If he could get King Qinsheng to listen to him wholeheartedly, he could rest assured and leave the ancient god clan to King Qinsheng when he left ancient god sanctuary. He would fight for this possibility. Another important reason was the ancient emperor's grave. The first ancient god emperor was one of the strongest men back in the first era. His power and ability was much stronger than that of any great emperors. Jian Wushuang was extremely interested in the things these kind of super experts would leave behind. Now, he had received the news that such a grave exists. Even if King Qinsheng did not raise entering the grave as one of his conditions, Jian Wushuang would still venture into the grave. King Qinsheng, take me to the ancient emperor's grave, Jian Wushuang said. Yes, King Qinsheng said, as he led the way without hesitation. Jian Wushuang, King Luo Yu, and the other top-tier ancient god followed suit. Ancient Emperor's grave was located in the middle of the ancient god sanctuary. It was the holiest place in the hearts of most ancient gods. This place would be flooded with people every million years when it would open its doors. On a normal day like this, no one would be around. However, every ancient god, who was at least 7 stars, had gathered here. The leaders of them were the 3 9-star ancient gods, King Qinsheng, King Luo Yu, and King Zhansong. These three leaders stood cautiously beside a young man. "Is this the ancient emperor's grave?" Jian Wushuang said with his hands behind his back. He was looking at a cave within a formation. The cave was gigantic, and the formation was extremely powerful. "This is the entrance. Every time the grave opens, people of this clan will enter that way. Even if the grave is not open today, that is the only way you can take to enter forcibly," King Chunxing said, as he pointed towards a certain part of the formation. Jian Wushuang nodded lightly. "Sword Emperor, this grave was left behind by the first ancient god emperor using unimaginable means. Even after so long, no one had ever managed to enter forcibly. All those who tried, including King Chunxing, were at least 8-star ancient gods. All those who tried failed and died inside, except for King Chunxing. Please reconsider carefully." King Luo, you said as his eyebrows were knitted closely together. "After hearing all this, are you afraid? If you are, leave this place immediately. You can get all the support from the other ancient gods. Just don't come looking for me," King Chunxing said coldly. "Afraid? Since you, King Chunxing, can walk out of the grave alive, why should I be afraid? I hope you remember your promise." Jian Wushuang smiled indifferently. Jian Wushuang took off towards the ancient emperor's grave slowly, ignoring the people who stood behind him. Even though he walked slowly, it only took him a few steps to reach the entrance of the grave. The first thing he saw at the entrance was a large flight of stairs. There were hundreds of steps, and each radiated a special aura. King Chunxing, King Luoyu, and the other ancient gods stood far away and observed quietly. "Lord Chunxing, do you think that Jian Wushuang could gain recognition from the emperor himself?" King Zhang asked curiously. "Humph. Recognition? Dream on. My father was one of the strongest overlords in the first era. His standards are extremely high. It will be extremely difficult to meet those standards." King Chunxing smiled coldly. "I bet he can't even make it past the door inside the grave, much less gain recognition. The measures my father placed around the grave are profound and unpredictable. These measures cannot not differentiate ally from foe. In the past, I tried to enter forcibly as there was an extremely urgent matter. I almost died from those measures. Even though Jian Wushuang is stronger than me, it is also impossible for him to make it past the different defensive measures my father put in place." King Zhang was stunned. King Luoyu, King Guyu, and the other ancient gods became worried upon hearing this. "Look, he is going to enter," a voice shouted out loud. Everyone turned their heads and looked toward the grave. Jian Wushuang stood at the base of the staircase in front of the entrance. He lifted his right leg and stepped onto the first step. The moment his right foot hit the first step, he felt an aura suppressing him, trying to stop him from advancing further. This aura targeted the bloodline power and had no effect on one's power level. Jian Wushuang smiled when he felt this aura. Immediately, another aura of an extremely powerful ancient god bloodline burst forth. Chapter 2076. The 9 war spirits. Jian Wushuang had inherited Wuhan's ancient god bloodline. This bloodline was pure and gave him complete bloodline power. The first bloodline of the ancient god emperor was less pure compared to that of Jian Wushuang. Under the effect of suppression of bloodline power, most royal ancient gods would have to walk slowly, one step at a time up the steps. Some of those whose wills were weaker might not even reach the top of the steps. On the other hand, Jian Wushuang had walked up quickly. It was as though there was no suppression at all, and he walked without feeling any resistance. Even thought the suppression got stronger as the number of steps climbed increased. Jian Wushuang was not affected. Within moments he finished more than half the steps, and he was not slowing down. This brat, King Chunxing, was standing on the void. Upon seeing how easily Jian Wushuang was walking up the stairs, he squinted his eyes and muttered, "As much as I do not want him to be the next ancient god emperor, I have to admit his bloodline is extremely pure. It might even be on par with my father's bloodline." King Chunxing, the Sword Emperor, is going to finish walking all the steps, King Zhansong said. "This is normal. My father's first measure is simply suppression of bloodline power. Any royal ancient god can persist through this first measure as long as they have the will. His bloodline is even purer than most ancient gods with the royal bloodline. Hence this will barely pose any problem to him," King Chunxing said indifferently. "However, my father left behind 3 measures. This first measure is the easiest. The next 2 will not be so easy for him to pass." King Chunxing understood the measures well, as he too had once tried to enter forcibly. Just like King Chunxing said, Jian Wushuang walked up the 100 steps easily without stopping. As soon as he set foot at open area the top, a few blurry mirages started to solidify. Hum, 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 hum. A total of 9 blue mirages solidified. Their faces were unrecognizable. Every single one of them were extremely large, and they each held a different chaos divine weapon. All 9 figures scanned the area and locked on to Jian Wushuang. "Intruders! Those who dare to disturb the ancient god emperor in his sleep shall die." A cold, robotic voice came out of one of the figures' mouth as the 9 of them attacked. Their aura was terrifying, and every aura was targeted and focused on Jian Wushuang. He frowned deeply as he took the situation seriously. He could tell that the 9 figures were very powerful. Boom, 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 boom. The 9 figures attacked. One of the figures held a bat that was 10 meters long and as thick as a bucket. It looked like a small hill from Jian Wushuang's perspective. However, it looked like a small plant in the hands of the figure. The figure swung the bat as it crashed towards Jian Wushuang with the momentum of heaven and earth. Another figure had 2 metal hammers for its hands. The metal hammers were gigantic. After a loud bellow, the hammers morphed into lightning and thunder as they appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Even though the aura was not felt, one could tell how strong the attack was just by seeing the electric sparks. Another figure morphed into a humongous ancient beast in golden armor and crashed towards Jian Wushuang. He looked like a flying battle fortress. As for the other blurry figures, each attack was definitely powerful. One of the figures was an ancient god, and he used the ancient god finger. What a powerful aura! What are these? Jian Wushuang thought to himself, shocked. He swung his sword at once. A special sword essence could be felt. Jian Wushuang started to devour everything around him. He looked like a huge dark vortex. Sword principle Xian Luo, mixed elements spirit. Pong, 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 pong. 9 loud clashes were heard as the 9 different attacks were deflected one at a time. However, the attacks were so strong that Jian Wushuang backed off a few steps. "Oh my! Everyone here at least has the fighting power of a top-tier stage, 1 great emperor. 2 of them have fighting powers equivalent to a stage 2 great emperor." Jian Wushuang was surprised. People like Abysmal Saint Master were at the level of a top-tier great emperor. There were very few people at this level in the entire eternal chaotic world. However, the weakest of the 9 figures possessed fighting power at this level. 2 of them even had the fighting power of a stage 2 great emperor. The battling power of this group was too powerful. King Chunxing, King Luoyu, and the other ancient gods were observing Jian Wushuang using their soul power. Their faces turned pale when they saw the 9 figures appear. These 9 figures are the 9 top-tier experts who fought with my father. They are the strongest under my father's command. Back in the First Era, every single one of them had the fighting power of a top-tier stage 2 great emperor. 2 of them were even top-tier stage 2 great emperors. King Qinsheng scoffed. As the First Era ended, these 9 great warriors died along with my father. However, they were absolutely loyal to him. Hence they still guard him till this day in the form of a war spirit. Even though the 9 war spirits now are weaker than they were in their prime, their fighting power is still very powerful. Furthermore, all 9 are fighting Jian Wushuang together. Not any ordinary man can enter his grave. Due to this, the second measure my father put in place outside the ancient emperor grave. Back when King Qinsheng tried to enter the ancient emperor grave forcibly, he fought the 9 war spirits. He almost died on that day. Luckily, he had a powerful self-defense mechanism which allowed him to pass this test and move on. On the other hand, Jian Wushang, even though the Sword Emperor has high fighting power, his self-defense mechanism might not be as strong as mine. Without it, he definitely cannot survive for 30 seconds. Chapter 2077. Last line of defense. 7 of the 9 war spirits had fighting powers equivalent to that of a top-tier stage 1 great emperor, while the remaining 2 had power equivalent to that of a stage 2 great emperor. It would be difficult for anyone to remain alive after 30 seconds of frenzy when they work together to try to kill someone. King Qinsheng exploited his powerful self-defense mechanism and barely survived. He was skeptical that Jian Wushuang would have a stronger self-defense mechanism than him. At the entrance of the ancient emperor grave, Jian Wushuang was surrounded by the 9 war spirits. The various ancient gods were shocked when he launched the attack. Instead of experiencing fear, Jian Wushuang was excited to fight these 9 war spirits. He is courageous. Even though he knows that the 9 war spirits are powerful, he still dares to fight them head-on. King Qinsheng smirked coldly and pitted Jian Wushuang. As expected, even though Jian Wushuang showcased extraordinary fighting power, he was instantly at a disadvantage when the 9 war spirits attacked. Not too long after, a war spirit landed a hit on him. Even though the war spirit was only at the power level of a stage 1 great emperor, that blow was enough to injure any great emperor. However, Jian Wushuang just grunted and continued fighting. It was as though that attack had had no effect on him. What? King Qinsheng was stunned. The following scene made his irises constrict as he was shocked again. When fighting the 9 war spirits, Jian Wushuang did not even try to dodge the attacks. He simply attacked the war spirits in a frenzy. He fought the 9 war spirits alone without fear. The attacks from the 9 spirits, including those from the 2 war spirits who had the same power level as a stage 2 great emperor, would land on Jian Wushuang occasionally. However, there was no effect on Jian Wushuang as he continued with the onslaught. His fighting power was at his peak, and there was no sign of any injury. Instead of weakening, his aura grew and became even stronger. 10 seconds, 20 seconds. In the blink of an eye, 30 seconds had passed. The 9 war spirits who were attacking Jian Wushuang disintegrated into nothingness, and a path was revealed. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly and walked down this path. The ancient gods outside the ancient emperor's grave. Especially King Qinsheng. How is this possible? My self-defense mechanism is my most powerful ability, but even I could barely survive for 30 seconds when attacked by the 9 war spirits. How could a sword emperor be unharmed after that ordeal? He fought the 9 war spirits, alone, head-on for 30 seconds, and came out unharmed, even after he suffered direct hits from the war spirits. How can a self-defense mechanism be so powerful? King Qinsheng widened his eyes as surprise was written all over his face. Jian Wushuang's performance had exceeded his wildest imagination. However, what he did not know was that Jian Wuxiang had fought 13 stage 2 great emperors back in 3 emperors' world for an extended period of time. What was the result? He was unharmed. On the other hand, those weaker great emperors among the 13 were severely wounded. On the other hand, the pressure that the 9 war spirits gave Jian Wushuang was similar to that of the pressure the 13 great emperors put on Jian Wushuang. Hence, he could handle the war spirits easily. As for the self-defense mechanism that King Qinsheng was so proud of, Jian Wushuang had perfect chaotic holy body, which was many times stronger. Within the ancient emperor's grave, Jian Wushuang followed the tunnel and walked forward and ran into a large old door. On the door, there was a sculpture of an odd exotic beast. It was infused with secret restrictions. These secret restrictions were flowing as though they were alive. This door was the entrance to the inside of the ancient emperor's grave. Every million years, this door would open when the ancient emperor's grave opened itself to the rest of the world. Just then, the door was closed as the time was not right. A general in black armor stood in front of the door. The general was completely covered in black armor. Only his facial features could be seen. He was at least 5 meters tall and held a black spear. He stood like a statue, motionless, in front of the door. It was as though he had been there since the beginning of time. Jian Wushuang couldn't sense any aura from this man. Jian Wushuang looked towards the general in black armor. Even though he couldn't sense any aura from the general, he felt pressured the moment he laid eyes on him. This pressure was on another level compared to King Qinsheng and Great Emperor Zisu, who were all stage 2 great emperors. Outside the ancient emperor's grave, King Qinsheng and the audience, too, saw the general in black armor. "This is the third and last line of defense my father set," King Qinsheng thought as he clenched his fists. Back then, he had entered the grave and managed to pass the first 2 levels, suppression using bloodline power and the 9 war spirits. In the end, he had met the general in front of the door. Here, he had stopped and could not advance any further. In front of the door, the moment Jian Wushuang appeared, the general in black armor, who seemed to have stood motionless for all eternity, opened his eyes. A flash of dim light, which was as fast as lightning, burst forth towards Jian Wushuang. "The time for the grave to open has not come. None shall enter. You there, leave this place immediately." The general in black armor said coldly. All he did was ask Jian Wushuang to leave, contrary to the war spirits in the second line of defense who had tried to kill Jian Wushuang. When the 9 spirits appeared, they had attacked Jian Wushuang immediately and tried to kill him, though they failed. If I were to wait for this grave to open by itself, I would have to wait another 700,000 years. I cannot afford to wait for such a long time. Sorry, but you'll have to enter forcibly. Jian Wushuang smiled with absolute confidence. Jian Wushuang stopped talking and attacked the general in black armor. A terrifying aura burst forth, and the general gripped his spear tightly when Jian Wushuang attacked. Chapter 2078, The Black Armored General Xiao. A merciless spear pierced through. That speed, words could not express. By the time Jian Wushuang heard that ear-piercing blast from the void, the spear was already in front of him. Jian Wushuang had moved first. Logically, he should be the one to make the first strike, but before he could even start on his sword skills, the spear had reached him. HNGH. With a snigger, Jian Wushuang's blood mountain sword swiftly took it down. This was the strongest skill within sword principle Xian Luo, the blast rainstorm. With a gong, the sound of the strike resonated. Jian Wushuang could feel an immense power traveling across his blood mountain sword. This power, without a doubt, had surpassed second stage Great Emperor's powers. It was a third stage power. And from the looks of it, this one move was slightly stronger than all of Demon King Chunye's powers had been back in Three Emperors' world. This strength traveled up towards his body. The strong body he had, after cultivating the immortal celestial body, at this moment was roughed up pretty badly too. Jian Wushuang quickly retreated. As he regained his balance, the divine power within him started doing its work, and soon as injuries were all recovered, Stage 3, stronger than Demon King Chenyu, Jian Wushuang licked his lips and stared at the black-armored general. "Junior, you're not stronger than me. With me guarding here, you won't make it through. Leave." The general opened his mouth again. "Won't make it through? Well, see about that." Jian Wushuang sniggered and attempted to strike again. Block head. The general's eyes radiated death as the spear in his hand was once again put into action. Spear strikes came one after the other. The general's fighting power, once ignited, was indeed of a third-level Great Emperor. Faced with such an expert, Jian Wushuang could not possibly win. Suppressed at first contact, Jian Wushuang could only now resist with his almost invincible self-defense mechanism. Outside the ancient emperor's residence stood many ancient gods, all astonished by the ongoing battle. So powerful! That black-armored general, he's too strong. The Sword Emperor himself is already an extraordinary being, having suppressed King Chunxing. But against the general, it feels like a whole new level. The disparity is quite big. The Sword Emperor has been completely suppressed. The ancient gods could not help giving praise. HNGH, I knew it. This Sword Emperor may be strong after passing those two obstacles, but passing the last challenge, that's impossible. Demon King Chunxing sniggered, a grin on his face in front of the residence's huge gates. Jian Wushuang was still being suppressed by the general in an almost pathetic manner, relying purely on his self-defense mechanism to keep up. "Junior, my patience has its limits. You can't defeat me. Leave now, or don't blame me for teaching you a lesson." The black-armored general's voice was cold and harsh. "Teaching me a lesson? Well, see about that." Jian Wushuang smiled back without hesitation. That instantly infuriated the general. He stopped holding back. Hum! An ear-piercing roar resonated through the entire void, and even Jian Wushuang couldn't help but look up. What he saw was a deep, subtle flash. It was pitch black, with not a single mark of impurity glaring as it shone. Not only Jian Wushuang, but even the ancient gods outside the ancient emperor's grave were mesmerized by it. This eye-catching flash was actually the eerie shadow of the general's spear. The spear had left the general's hand with such explosive speed, it was already reaching Jian Wushuang. Too fast, a speed beyond Jian Wushuang's comprehension. Gosh, I'm not going to be able to block it. Jian Wushuang was astonished. He had intended to use his swordsmanship to block it, but found himself unable to catch up with the spear. He could do nothing but watch as the spear approached. Ultimately, without obstruction, the spear pierced through his body. A power so strong it could have pierced heaven, and earth went through him. Jian Wushuang shook. That power was weakened by half passing through his 5 gemamore, but whatever remained was still powerful enough to pierce a bowl-sized hole through his body. Jian Wushuang, still in shock, was taken aback by the blast. Is he dead? The general, with death in his eyes, gazed upon Jian Wushuang. But suddenly Jian Wushuang, still being thrown aback from the blast, stopped abruptly within the void. Jian Wushuang had his eyes fixated upon the general once again, the hole in his body now long gone. What? The black-armored general was obviously surprised. He had just put a hole through Jian Wushuang. Normal cultivators would have either been dead or greatly wounded by now. But the man before him, he showed no sign of weakness. His injury had already recovered. His recovery speed, how could it be so fast? Impressive. That was quite the spear. If I'm not wrong, there were some rules of order within it, right? Jian Wushuang said with a tinge of excitement. You know about that? The general was surprised, restraining himself. He stood statue-like, once again, speaking coldly. Your self-defense mechanisms and restorative powers are impressive. I am unable to kill you, but you are still unable to pass me. So please leave. Unable? I don't think so. Jian Wushuang gave a cold laugh. Ancient God Emperor, you thought I wouldn't be able to tell someone was controlling this body I'm fighting with. The general's pupils constricted upon the words, Ancient God Emperor. A sharp glare could be seen in his eyes. The method of planting some consciousness within this Tao soldier, therefore controlling it, I've done it before. These kinds of tricks are no mystery to me. Jian Wushuang sniggered. The Tao soldier you control is very powerful himself, but a Tao soldier remains a Tao soldier. I can tell with a glance. Controlling a Tao soldier, demonstrating third-stage great emperor powers with rules of order with the power of consciousness alone. Within these grounds, who else could it be but you, Ancient God Emperor? Chapter 2079, Ancient God Emperor. Under the huge gates, the black-armored general's eyes shimmered in astonishment, fixated on Jian Wushuang. After a moment of silence, the general finally spoke. You are smart, but even if you know this Tao soldier's being controlled by the Ancient God Emperor, what else can you do? Haha, if you were alive, defending your gates with your consciousness-controlled Tao soldier alone would suffice. But what's left of you is that very strand of consciousness, and a brittle one. It's already extremely difficult for you to remain within these gates. Don't even bother mentioning engaging in battle, which means to say, the longer your soldier fights with me, the more damage it brings to your strand of consciousness. That's why you didn't want to fight me from the very beginning, convincing me to leave. Am I right? Jian Wushuang grinned as he watched the general. The general was fully covered in his black armor, so Jian Wushuang could not see if he had had a change in facial expression. But he did sense something change through the general's eyes. Under these circumstances, the only way to block me is to kill me swiftly, which you had just attempted. You couldn't do it. Even if I can't defeat you, as long as I force you to engage in battle with me, let's see how long your consciousness will last. Jian Wushuang sniggered. The general's glance shifted, facing Jian Wushuang again. You're right, with simply my consciousness, I can't block you. Since it has to be this way, come on in. After being said, the ancient residence gates, scribbled with weird marks and drawings of ancient beasts, rumbled and slowly opened behind the general. A broad pathway appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. As for that black-armored general, he was now stationed beside the residence's gates, eyes shut, reverting to his original statue form. Seeing the gates now being opened for him, Jian Wushuang showed a faint smile and made his way in. Outside the ancient emperor's residence, countless ancient gods had their eyes fixated on that entrance. When they saw the gates open, each and every one of them was astonished. How is that even possible? King Qinsheng was even more bewildered. He knew how terrifying the general was. When he had first fought the general, a strike of the spear had been enough to badly wound him. He had almost lost his life then. Without a choice, he had had to leave. But now, Jian Wushuang had even defeated the general. He actually made it through the 3 obstacles my father left behind. King Qinsheng appeared extremely gloomy before snorting, even if he made it in, my father may not approve him. My father was one of the strongest in the first era. You think it's easy receiving his approval? That thought remained lingering in King Qinsheng's heart. The huge, ancient place was a place of wonders. Even challenges could be found within it. But these challenges were reserved for the weaker ancient god clan people when they entered once every 1 million years. It meant nothing to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang had made his way through without any more obstacles. Before long, he reached the deepest part of the residence. There, a hazy figure was seen, sitting cross-legged. It was a strong man in gold robes, his height beyond 3 meters. There he sat. The first impression he gave people was the word Lionheart, and within it an undeniable authority and dignity. This air of authority was as if he had the entire world under his foot. Countless experts were simply ants to him. In a glance, Jian Wushuang knew who the other person was. "Greetings to you, ancient god emperor." Jian Wushuang gave a small bow as a form of respect. "Jian Wushuang?" The ancient god emperor gave him a glance. "You're good. Only an 8-star ancient god. That's simply an emperor god amongst human cultivators. But your fighting power is obviously on par with second-stage great emperors. Even my 9 great war spirits couldn't stop you. Such impressive leapfrogging skills. You remind me of someone by the name of Emperor Bai. Have you heard of this person?" Jian Wushuang's expression changed. Emperor Bai was from the first era. Of course, the ancient god emperor knew about him. Emperor Bai is not the leader of the Sanctuary Alliance. Both he and I practice inverse cultivation, Jian Wushuang replied. Indeed, the ancient god emperor smiled, indifferently, unsurprised. In the beginning, that kiddo Emperor Bai was the same as you, nothing more than an emperor god. But his fighting power kept the weaker second-stage great emperors real busy. People then started to infer that it had to do with his unique method of cultivation, leading to the discovery of inverse cultivation. There were a few third-stage great emperors back then who were interested in his method and wanted to snatch it away from him. In the end, the third-stage great emperors were powerless, even though they had joined hands, even though Kiddo had peaked second-stage fighting powers. When he surpassed great emperor levels, no one could touch him. The Kiddo's defense mechanisms were the same as yours. Hearing that, Jian Wushuang gasped silently. He had heard things regarding Emperor Bai, like how he was one of the strongest during the First Era. But he could not be compared to elites like Ancient God Emperor and Sword Emperor Dugu. Furthermore, Ancient God Emperor was way more ancient than Emperor Bai. It only made sense that he called Emperor Bai Kiddo. But the Emperor Bai of today couldn't be compared to how he was back in the First Era. According to Emperor Bai, he was now at the peak of the third stage, almost between that and the fourth stage. That kind of fighting power would be slightly stronger than Ancient God Emperor's prime. I didn't like that, Kiddo. Nor do I like you. Ancient God Emperor gazed upon Jian Wushuang with that same air of authority surrounding him and said, it's hard to keep my strand of consciousness around. The reason why the gates open once every 1 million years is because it takes a lot of energy to control whatever I need once it opens, and this energy only fully regenerates after 1 million years. You barging in this time has forced my consciousness to awaken, having offended me this way. If I had more than simply that strand of consciousness, I would have killed you. As he spoke, a murderous aura covered Jian Wushuang. Please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 2080 Soul Memory. Confirmed. That murderous aura covered Jian Wushuang. The ancient god emperor may have had nothing left but his strand of consciousness, but that was more than enough to shake the heavens. The awesome, murderous aura of the ancient god emperor would have brought others to heal by now, but not him. Jian Wushuang remained standing, emotionless. The aura was nothing more than a gentle wind to his face. Composed, the ancient god emperor's face broadened to a grin, that murderous aura of his now long gone. What do you seek, Kiddo? I want to be a new emperor of the ancient god clan, and I need your approval, Jian Wushuang replied. The ancient god clan has always prioritized bloodline over everything. You possess the perfect bloodline, which is something I myself dare not claim. That along with your skill set, the entire clan should have embraced you by now. Why seek my approval? The ancient god emperor smiled. The other clansmen are naturally fine with it, but King Qinxing insists. Jian Wushuang replied. Qinxing? That kid. The ancient god emperor's expression changed. He had 3 sons, of which Qinxing was the youngest and his dearest. When the first era collapsed, it had cost him an arm and a leg to keep Qinxing alive, along with others. King Qinxing's abilities are decent. I'm hoping to win him over. With him by my side, I'll be better equipped to take charge of the ancient god clan, Jian Wushuang said. I see, the ancient god emperor replied in realization, and laughed. Kiddo, I have high standards. You should know that by now. You want my approval? You'll have to let me get a good look at you. Don't resist. As he spoke, a mysterious power rose from his body and charged towards Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang frowned, but he could feel that the power was of no threat to him, so he did not resist. The power entered into his body and blanketed his substantive soul. Jian Wushuang realized. Checking my soul memory. Impressive move. Soul memory refers to the memory one possesses the moment he gains his soul power, recording everything the person experiences. Knowing the ancient god emperor's intentions, Jian Wushuang did not hide much, except for some hidden memories about his past, which he locked instantly. Even the ancient god emperor could not access it, only viewing what Wushuang wanted him to see. That did not frustrate the ancient god emperor, as he started to view these memories. From these memories, he saw 2 important things. The first memory was when he kept the pillar intact with the lineage of stars, leading to the demise of the Star Palace master. Jian Wushuang, with thunder-like strikes, had used the lineage of stars and managed to survive against the punitive expeditions of other forces, allowing the lineage of stars to be recognized as the top powers by the Sanctuary Alliance. The second memory was outside the Green Fire world. Jian Wushuang was alone against the experts in the eternal chaotic world. Against so many enemies from so many clans and tribes, he stood firm. This Green Fire world is my hometown. Whoever dares lay a finger on it will die. Asking the cultivators to leave the Green Fire world, they'll be the first to say never. So will the countless cultivators on this land, and our forefathers who came before us. Even if it means burning to ashes, we will fight for this land, till the very last man is down, till the last drop of blood is shed. We will never give in. Every word Jian Wushuang said, including the aura of defiance to look death calmly in the face, was all captured by the ancient god emperor. Yet the ancient god emperor's eyes showed nostalgia. That had been a long time ago, when the first era was about to collapse. Countless experts from the first era, himself included, had all looked death straight in the eye during their battle. That unyielding defiance was to protect what they had, exactly the same as Jian Wushuang with his Green Fire world. Seeing this, the ancient god emperor could not help but display excitement. Ha! I kind of like you now, kiddo, the emperor burst into laughter. For someone to look death straight in the eye, for your friends and family. I like people like you. Do I have your approval? Jian Wushuang asked the emperor. I approve, of course I do. If an able leader like yourself is willing to carry this responsibility of leading the ancient god clan, I believe we will survive through all challenges. Furthermore, not only will I make you the new emperor for our ancient god clan, I'll present you with the greatest gift you can find over here. The ancient god emperor's laughter resonated, and with a flip of his hand, 3 drops of gilded blood essence appeared. This, Jian Wushuang, was mesmerized by it. He could feel the billowing power within those 3 drops. The ancient god power purer and stronger than any other blood essences he had seen. The ancient god emperor said solemnly, "Great pains were made to form the blood essence, every drip containing immense ancient god power. I've only collected 5 in my life, of which 1 I transferred to Qinxing in my era. The remaining 4 followed me to this grave. Many years ago, a lad named Luo Yu came and passed my test, so I passed him 1, leaving 3. These 3 drops I had intended to slowly pass down to future generations. But now, I've decided to give you everything. Cultivate and absorb it. It'll help you too." As he finished talking, the 3 drops of blood were already floating towards Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was alerted, but did not reject it. The 3 drops immediately integrated themselves into his body, the ancient god power billowing from within. Jian Wushuang started to cultivate the blood essence to the best of his ability. It goes without saying that 3 drops of blood were too much. 1 drop was beyond Jian Wushuang's imagination. And now 3? Please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 2081, A Big Coincidence. Hua La La, the boundless ancient god power, was bursting within Jian Wushuang, and with that came unprecedented pain. Jian Wushuang's face darkened. It was fortunate that he could resist the power of the 3 drops of blood essence bursting within him. If it were another person, he would have long exploded. "Absorb as much as you want, kiddo." The ancient god emperor was laughing, his eyes sparkling. "Besides these 3 drops, it'll teach you 1 secret skill. This is my favorite one I learned years ago at the ruins of the ancient era. Took me ages to understand it. Lucky you." With that, the ancient god emperor extended his palm and smacked Jian Wushuang's forehead. Information billowed towards Jian Wushuang. It contained many memories of how to use that skill. Jian Wushuang himself recognized it immediately. Moon-picking skill. It's the moon-picking skill. Jian Wushuang flinched. The moon-picking skill was known as the strongest secret skill amongst the 3 big skills in the ancient god clan. This skill, although formidable, had its limitations compared to the other 2 skills in Jian Wushuang's opinion. It felt controversial to call it the top skill because the star destruction skill felt more useful. But now, with this trove of information, Jian Wushuang finally understood why the moon-picking skill was the top skill in the clan. The moon-picking skill he had practiced in the past was incomplete. Yes, incomplete. He had only grasped a bit of the moon-picking skill. What he could use was naturally only a small portion of the skill's true power. The true power of the moon-picking skill was how the ancient god emperor emerged from the crowd as the best during the first era. Although the ancient god emperor was one of the strongest during the first era, it was nothing to the experts and demons of the ancient era. He only thought of the moon-picking skill, while amongst the ruins of the ancient era, a pure coincidence. Still, proudly perfecting the skill was the ancient god emperor's proudest moment. The skill may not have come from the ancient era, but it was certainly much more powerful than many that did. The skill was the real deal, and now the ancient god emperor was giving it to him. The boundless information was streaming through Jian Wushuang's mind, along with that specific scene. That scene showed usage of the skill, and the key was the usage of the power of space-time. Jian Wushuang was completely stunned. Specifically speaking, he was completely fascinated. The moon-plucking skill is a space-time-related skill. What it involved was deep and profound. When Jian Wushuang first arrived at the ancient god's sanctuary and learned the skill, as the ship went down, he gained much understanding of space-time. Now, as he received the entire skill, he felt the same. His understanding of space-time was always stuck at the pinnacle of the 8th level of Doctrine Palace, stuck at a plateau. But now he felt as though a brand new door had gradually opened in front of him. if he took the time to understand more, the door would open completely, and he will be able to cross it. Coincidence? What an opportunity of a lifetime! Jian Wushuang immediately understood that, and naturally started to focus. As he was absorbing the entire moon plucking skill, he was also understanding the unique ways of space-time powers, all while his body was cultivating the 3 drops of ancient god power. All 3 actions were happening concurrently. Weaker cultivators would find this impossible to accomplish, but not almighty-level experts. They could do 4 if they wanted to. As time passed, Jian Wushuang's bloodline power of the ancient clan was increasing, his aura now increasingly stronger. His understanding of space-time was also improving exponentially. This happened for 3 days. After 3 days, the ancient emperor's residence finally went quiet. At the residence's core, Jian Wushuang stood quietly, his divine power and aura finally calming down. His eyes were opened, and within it existed a concentrated, powerful light. Those 2 streaks of light in his eyes were like lightning sparkling. Previously, there were only 8 ancient god stars between his eyes. But now, there were 9. The 9 stars meant he had finally reached 9-star ancient god levels. A 9-star ancient god, specifically a 9-star of the ancient clan. This level meant he had reached great emperor levels amongst human cultivators. Reading these levels, it meant that Jian Wushuang's ancient clan bloodline power would undergo unprecedented changes. Its explosive power would definitely be an improvement. This also meant that when Jian Wushuang performed the ancient god clan's secret skills and unique skills, had been more powerful than ever before. His divine body had now also improved, not as ridiculously as when he jumped from the first stage of the 7th step of inverse cultivation to the 2nd stage, but equally significant. This was all thanks to the complete absorption of the 3 drops of ancient god blood essence, along with learning the complete moon picking skill. During the skill imparting process, Jian Wushuang had also interacted with greater knowledge of space-time. Now that the moon picking skill had truly been imparted to him, he had also made improvements regarding his space-time understanding and reached 9th level Doctrine Palace standards. The 9th level seemed close to the pinnacle of the 8th level, but were in fact miles apart. Previously, Jian Wushuang had only had an advantage against other great emperors in terms of pure power, but not his understanding. Every great emperor had a minimal 9th level Doctrine Palace understanding, and now Jian Wushuang had finally caught up. This step had caused a qualitative change in his overall power. Before I stepped into the ancient emperor's grave, I was one of the top few 2nd stage great emperors with the help of my inverse cultivation, immemorial celestial body, and more, but now. Please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 2082 Submission. The pinnacle of 2nd stage, the best around. Even if I got caught up with a 3rd stage great emperor like that demon King Chinyu, I won't be able to defeat him per se, but at least I'll be able to put up a fight. Jian Wushuang clutched his hands as he felt the greatly improved bloodline power flowing within him along with the power to controlling surrounding time-space. He was ecstatic. He had analyzed previously, and as long as he improved in understanding in time-space doctrine or reincarnation doctrine, he would reach the pinnacle 2nd stage great emperor levels. Now, not only had he made that step forward in the time-space doctrine, he was now a 9-star ancient god too. Naturally, he was now stronger than previously expected. Thank you, O ancient emperor. Jian Wushuang bowed in front of him, but this time it was sincere. After all, the ancient god emperor was the reason behind this newfound strength. Haha, no need to thank me. If you are able to lead the ancient god clan out of that calamity, simply keeping the clan alive will be good enough for me. The ancient god emperor laughed heartily. Oh, ancient emperor, what calamity are you referring to? Jian Wushuang frowned. No need to rush. You'll encounter it soon. Or maybe you've already have. Time will tell. The ancient god emperor smiled, faintly. The reason I left my strand of consciousness here was to find a new leader for the ancient god clan. Now that I have this residence and my consciousness, he has no reason to be around. As he spoke, Jian Wushuang could feel the surrounding residence shaking crazily. This form of vibration was violent in unprecedented degrees as major boulders collapsed. At the same time, the already hazy, translucent figure that was the ancient god emperor's consciousness was beginning to fade away. Jian Wushuang naturally understood what was happening. With a deep breath, he took another bow. Farewell, O great emperor. The ancient god emperor kept that smile the entire way, eyes fixated on Jian Wushuang as he eventually became nothing. Ancient god emperor, the super expert of the first era, had now vanished. Outside the residence, King Chunxing, King Luoyu, and other experts from the ancient god clan were waiting quietly. What Jian Wushuang did outside the gates was within their line of sight. But as the gates opened, what happened after Jian Wushuang entered? No one knew. They waited for 3 days, and nothing. It's already been 3 days. What is the Sword Emperor doing inside? King Chunxing was stone-faced. He still did not believe Jian Wushuang would receive his father's approval. But at that moment, Hong Long Long, such an enormous place, began to shake crazily. The shaking became more and more intense, even shaking the heavens. What's going on? What's happening? The ancient gods were all confused and looked towards the grave in astonishment. Suddenly, an aura of unyielding authority and magnanimity rose up from the grave to the heavens. Slowly, it formed a hazy figure of a man in gold robes. The experts all seemed like ants, being so high above the heavens. This aura, King Chunxing stared daggers at that figure that rose from the grave. Father! Chunxing called out immediately. King! Oh my king! The ancient gods below all looked up in awe and fervor. Ancient God Emperor, the first leader of the ancient god clan, was an irreplaceable figure for many ancient gods. And now the ancient god emperor spoke slowly as the rest watched. That unyielding authority could be felt in his voice as it resonated around the entire area. From today onwards, Jian Wushuang will be the new leader of the ancient god clan. All clansmen who dare disobey or disrespect him will have their actions seen as open defiance. There will be no mercy for those who do as such. As he ended his speech, the ancient god emperor's figure gradually dissipated into thin air. The enormous grave at this moment collapsed entirely. The entire place was now gone, along with the ancient god emperor's presence and aura. Everyone stared blankly at the ruins, yet to comprehend what had just happened. Suddenly, from the ruins, a figure appeared. He was not as tall as the ancient god emperor, but his aura of authority was no weaker than the god emperor's. As he walked over step by step, as if some sort of magic, his presence and authority grew in the hearts and minds of many ancient gods. Without hesitation, King Luoyu was the first to get on his knees and greet Jian Wushuang. Greetings, ancient emperor. Greetings, ancient emperor. The many 7- and 8-starred ancient gods did the same. Even the 9-starred ancient god King Zhansang, after being slightly shaken up, got down on his knees as well. Only one remained standing, King Chunxing Jian Wushuang, with his gaze of unyielding authority, gazed upon King Chunxing. A strong bloodline power was applied to King Chunxing immediately. King Chunxing, do you insist on being this way? Jian Wushuang's voice was cold. King Chunxing trembled and finally showed a bitter smile. He took a deep breath. In front of others, he bent the knee and greeted Jian Wushuang with a strong, resounding voice. Chunxing, here to greet, O ancient emperor. From this day forward, your wish is my command, and if I disobey, may the heavens punish me." Finally, a smile could be seen on Jian Wushuang. Luo Wang City, inside a great hall, the strongest experts from the ancient god were all there. King Chen Xing, King Luo Yu, King Zhan Tsang, along with the lords King Guyu and King Tong and the other clan leaders, were all present. There was almost 100 people packed inside the hall. They represented almost all of the ancient god clan. And on the top of the hall, on that unique, mighty throne, sat Jian Wushuang. The ancient gods below all looked up to Jian Wushuang in awe and fervor. "O ancient emperor, I have asked the clansmen to start the coronation ceremony preparations. It can proceed 1 month from now," King Luo Yu said respectfully. "The ceremony can wait. No rush." Jian Wushuang waved his hand. A new champion and a new leader had emerged. Naturally, a grand ceremony was necessary, but circumstances were dire, and Jian Wushuang had no time for anything else. "King Qinxing," Jian Wushuang said, "please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 2083 Invitation." Ancient Emperor King Qinxing immediately looked over. "Before I arrived here, you were the person in charge of the ancient god sanctuary. You should have received a message from the Sanctuary Alliance, right?" Jian Wushuang asked. "Indeed," King Qinxing nodded. "The message came from Ancestor Tian Chun, personally from the Alliance, stating the calamity the eternal chaotic world was facing. I told him I'd prepare everything that's needed, but the brawl within the ancient god clan hindered that process." Jian Wushuang looked at King Qinxing. He understood what had really happened. He knew King Qinxing was going to get rid of King Luo Yu and others, then get the ancient god clan to step up once everything had settled down. Unfortunately, everything had spiraled beyond his control. The Three Emperors World, Holocaust Sect, Acheron Palace, they're all public enemies of the eternal chaotic world. What they do not only threatens the Sanctuary Alliance and the human domain, but the entire eternal chaotic world. We cannot avoid this battle. We must prepare for it, Jian Wushuang instructed. King Qinxing nodded. Now that everything had settled down within the ancient god clan, and Jian Wushuang had given the order, all they needed to do was gather the experts for battle. That was not hard. Besides our clan, other tribes and clans should have received the same message, but no response has been heard from them since. We need to think of a way to speed them up. Jian Wushuang's voice was clear. The ancient gods below the throne looked up towards Jian Wushuang. "King Luo Yu, didn't you want to organize the coronation ceremony? If it's a ceremony, a lot of experts from different clans will be invited, right?" Jian Wushuang asked. King Luo Yu nodded. "If that's the case, use this ceremony to get all the experts over. Not just the other top 3 tribes, but every clan that has the ability. As long as they have one almighty within the clan, send an invitation to them, and get the person in charge to attend. At least someone with a voice in decision-making. As the ancient god clan, this shouldn't be tough to do, right?" Jian Wushuang said solemnly. "Rest assured, ancient emperor, we'll make the arrangements right away, guaranteeing every important person will be there," King Luo Yu replied. "Good, make the arrangements now. Remember, be quick about it," Jian Wushuang replied. "Yes." King Luo Yu and the others quickly made their way out for the preparations. Jian Wushuang was left alone on the throne and let out a slight sigh. He was weirded out. Ancient God Emperor, the leader of such an awesome clan, I could get used to this. Jian Wushuang smiled. At this moment, a transmission token from his Qian ring was activated. Jian Wushuang. It was Emperor Bai. "Oh, Emperor Bai," Jian Wushuang replied immediately. "What's your situation now?" I have taken the entire ancient god clan under my wing as an ancient god emperor. The real deal. The coronation ceremony will begin in a month. Jian Wushuang laughed. Wow, ancient god emperor. Congrats. Emperor Bai laughed. The other clans, those I do not know about. I have made the arrangements for their leaders or decision-making elders to attend my coronation ceremony. I'll discuss it with them during the ceremony. Jian Wushuang replied. No need to rush. The dark millstone has stopped. The next battle will not be a simple one. Troops from the three emperors' world won't be able to make their moves for now. Emperor Bai replied. Understood. Jian Wushuang nodded. Also, I need to talk to you about something else. Emperor Bai's voice sounded serious. Our Sanctuary Alliance scout at the Sky-Devouring Sanctuary has news spotting experts from either the Archilon Palace or Holocaust sect interacting with the Sky-Devouring clan. The Sky-Devouring clan's actions are getting suspicious too. Take note. Sky-Devouring clan. Jian Wushuang's facial expression changed. There were 4 top clans amongst the special tribes. The Sky-Devouring clan was one of the 4, like the ancient god clan. Both had their own sanctuaries, and their strength and influence were not to be messed with. But now, suspected experts from the Archilon Palace or Holocaust sect were seen on Sky-Devouring grounds. Suspicious actions from the Sky-Devouring clan themselves? Emperor Bai, what you're saying is that the Sky-Devouring clan is now siding with the 3 emperors' world. Jian Wushuang asked. I can't be sure about that, but it's possible. After all, that clan's the most eccentric of the 4 top clans. The other 3 would never switch sides. But them? Maybe. Emperor Bai replied. Understood. I'll do my best to figure out what's happening. Jian Wushuang replied. Be careful if you get into trouble and can't settle it with your ancient god clan alone. Let me know. I'll send people from the Sanctuary Alliance. With that being said, Emperor Bai disconnected the transmission. Jian Wushuang remained there in his throne, but his face was now darkened. The Sky-Devouring clan, as one of the top 4 clans, has so much influence on the other clans. If the Sky-Devouring clan really swapped sides, that would be a big blow for those clans that follow it. I hope the leader of the Sky-Devourers are not that foolish. If not, Jian Wushuang had a cold gaze. With a new ancient god emperor emerging from the ancient god clan, a coronation ceremony was planned for a month from now, with many tribes and clans coming over to attend. This news took the entire special tribe domain by storm. Many experts from tribes and clans all over were shocked when they heard the news. After all, after the ancient god emperor collapsed from the First Era, there was not another ancient god emperor. The affairs within the ancient god clan were always handled by King Qinsheng, and for a long period now. But now a new emperor, and not King Qinsheng, but an ancient god expert with true bloodline of emperors, and this new emperor was from the human domain. Please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 2084, The Succession Ceremony. The news took the entire special tribe domain by storm since it was released. Countless experts were curious. This new emperor of the ancient god clan, who was he? How much did he have within him to be affirmed by King Qinsheng and take the throne? The invitation that was sent out was accepted by all the clans. No one would refuse it, nor did anyone dare to. After so many years, the ancient god clan was finally having their coronation ceremony. Furthermore, there was a personal invitation from them. Who would dare disrespect them by not attending? Even the God Eater clan and Black Dragon clan of the elite clans agreed immediately, with their leaders making their way over on time. All that was left was that Sky Swallowing clan. The Sky Swallowing Sanctuary was as boundless as the ancient god sanctuary. And who owned the Sky Swallowing Sanctuary? Of course, It was the Sky Swallowing Clan. The sanctuary may have held many special tribes, but they had all surrendered to the Sky Swallowers. A dark void. This void was in the deepest depths of the Sky Swallowers' lair, blanketed with several ceiling formations. No one could enter undetected. Just then within the void, a relatively arrogant young man with an eagle-like nose stood. That arrogant man may have looked young, but he was in fact an old monster. How old? No one knew. This man was the verified leader of the Sky Swallowing Clan by the name of Ba Su. Coronation ceremony of the ancient god emperor? A new ancient god emperor. At this juncture, the arrogant man, Ba Su, had an abnormal smile on his face. According to what we received, this new emperor comes from the human tribe, and a member of the Sanctuary Alliance, as well by the name of Jian Wushuang. He's known as the Sword Emperor. A black-robed, mysterious man stood beside Ba Su. Sword Emperor? Human? Ha! Maybe old age has muddled with King Chun Xing's mind for him to get a human to become ancient god clan's emperor. Ba Su could not help but snigger. Mr. Ba Su, we better not underestimate this Sword Emperor. He did real damage to my Acheron palace. If he didn't destroy the dark millstone, my palace wouldn't be in such a mess, the black-robed man replied coldly. If he had not destroyed the millstone, you wouldn't need to collaborate with the Sky Swallowing Clan, I suppose. Ba Su glared at the black-robed man. The black-robed man kept his silence. He did not deny it. If the Dark Millstone was still operational, the three-emperor world and its allies would crush the eternal chaotic world with a snap of the finger. All that resisted would be slaughtered effortlessly. Experts would not need to come down to the sky-swallowing sanctuary either. Mr. Ba Su, you must believe that we of the Archilon Palace are sincere, the black-robed man replied. Relax. If I didn't believe it, you would be dead by now. Ba Su laughed coldly. Now that the ancient god clan has personally delivered to me their invitation, it's a must that I attend the ceremony. I'm afraid our plans will need to halt for the time being. If my predictions are correct, that Sword Emperor's using the ceremony to get more clans to follow the Sanctuary Alliance against us three emperors' world, the black-robed man said. Perhaps, but with me around, that won't be easy. If we're lucky, their effort may work in our favor instead. Ba Su laughed coldly, his eyes visibly ruthless. A month passed by. The coronation ceremony was finally about to begin. It was to happen in the main hall, packed with leaders and experts from all tribes and clans. These people had finally gotten to meet this new ancient god emperor. But the emperor was completely different from what they had predicted. He looked more human than ancient god, but the aura of unyielding authority over other ancient gods remained, and was the real deal. The ceremony happened sequentially. Everything was settled within 2 hours. After the ceremony was over, the ancient god clan hosted a grand feast. During this feast, there were more experts from other tribes than there were from the ancient god clan themselves. With a glance, one could see that there were more than 1,000 men. These 1,000 men, each of them at least an almighty, behind them each was an impressive tribe. Of course, only the people who had attained almighty levels and above could attend the feast. Those weaker tribes without almighties were not even invited. After all, they would be useless in the battle against the three emperors' world. At the center of the feast sat the star of the feast, Jian Wushuang. He looked down. Everyone. As Jian Wushuang spoke, the noise and ruckus below immediately stopped. The reason I have invited you all today is for everyone here to bear witness to this succession ceremony. But also, there is something I need to discuss with everyone here. It regards the lives and deaths of everyone here. The crowd started to murmur. Many experts frowned upon hearing what Jian Wushuang said, but more of them showed no change in expression. They had long guessed the true intention of this feast. Ancient Emperor, may I ask, this issue you mention, is it the same issue the Sanctuary Alliance messaged all of us about? One man below asked. That is correct. Jian Wushuang nodded. Most of you should have received the message before, and should understand the situation the eternal chaotic world is undergoing right now. From the Holocaust sect to the Aklon Palace, and now the Three Emperors world. They have formed an alliance with the Three Emperors world leading it. This is too big a threat against our eternal chaotic world. They obviously intend to destroy this entire world. At this juncture, the experts amongst us must gather together to resist and put up a fight together if need be. If we still treat this lightly by the time the enemy strikes, it will be too late for us to even form an alliance by then. Please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 2085, The Tribes Unite. Oh, Ancient Emperor. Someone stood up as Jian Wushuang ended his speech. It was a black-robed old man who let off an eerie aura. King Chunxing, standing beside Jian Wushuang, whispered, "That man is the leader of the Blackbone clan, Heiqi. Although their clan cannot be compared to the top four clans, their abilities are not to be underestimated. Furthermore, they follow the sky-swallowing clan." Jian Wushuang understood. "Clan Elder Heiqi, may I know your thoughts?" Jian Wushuang smiled back. "Oh, Ancient Emperor, I myself have received the message from the Sanctuary Alliance. But in my humble opinion, this fight is only between the Three Emperors world and the humans, and has nothing to do with us special tribes. Even if it's the Holocaust sect or the Archilon Palace, they are only active in human domains. Very rarely do they step on our grounds. If it is a battle amongst humans, we special tribes have no need to interfere," Heiqi replied. This caused a slight commotion within the crowd. Jian Wushuang watched the crowd from above and saw how they responded. He replied, "Looks like you have not fully grasped the severity of this issue, Clan Elder Heiqi. Indeed, we have never interfered in human matters, and vice versa. Of course, we would not interfere if it was a simple war between the humans. But this issue, do you really think it only involves humans? Everyone, let me show you all a projected image." As he spoke, Jian Wushuang waved his hand. Instantly, a large projected image appeared above the void. In that projection was the great dark millstone. As the millstone moved, it crushed everything. Everywhere it went, every inch of grass, every domain, and countless cultivators were all crushed into ash. Nothing remained. And as it turned, the millstone expanded exponentially. Seeing this, all the experts were shocked. "Oh, Ancient Emperor, what is this thing in the projection?" A clan elder inquired. "This is the dark millstone. As you can see, it devours everything in its path, and within the millstone lies the Three Emperors world. This is the source of the crisis the Sanctuary Alliance has warned us of. But rest assured, a team of experts from the Sanctuary Alliance had barged into the Three Emperors world and destroyed the energy source within it, stopping the millstone, but at a great cost," Jian Wushuang said. As they heard that the millstone had stopped, the experts all heaved a sigh of relief. Even as a projection, they all saw how terrifying the millstone was. Without a doubt, if the millstone continued to expand, the entire eternal chaotic world would go down in flames. "Oh, Ancient Emperor," Heiqi from the Blackbone clan spoke once again. "The millstone is indeed terrifying, but it has not appeared in our special tribes domain, and, as you've said, it had stopped. It poses no more threat. In this case, the only enemies of the Three Emperor world are the humans." Heiqi could not finish his sentence. "Foolish!" Jian Wushuang interrupted him in a fit of rage. "Oh, Ancient Emperor, what do you mean?" Heiqi's face darkened, a tinge of anger visible through his eyes. "I called you foolish unbelievably foolish. Jian Wushuang pointed at He Qi and scolded, I really have my doubts on how you became clan leader. What stupid words you've said. You say since the millstone has stopped and has not affected our special tribe domain, it's not our enemy. That's like saying the enemy was about to strike you with his sword, but was blocked by another. You being the stupid one, then begin to say the enemy was not going for you? The enemy was just playing around. Ha! Must you really wait for the sword to pierce your heart before you admit the enemy was going for you? Clan Elder He Qi, the logic is clear even to a 3-year-old. An emperor god expert like you. The leader of a clan can't even understand it. You dare say you're not foolish? Jian Wushuang showed no restraint. It was a clear insult, and in front of so many tribe leaders. The Blackbone clan leader He Qi was trembling in anger and shame, his teeth clenched tightly, unconsciously looking towards Ba Su seating in front of the hall. The sky-swallowing clan leader Ba Su had to give him a stern glance before He Qi could suppress his anger. He sat down once again. HNGH. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang snorted in contempt, his glance now on Ba Su. He realized that the sky-swallowing clan leader was very calm about what had happened, sitting there without muttering a word. This sky-swallower got the Blackbone clan to stand up for him. What exactly does he want? Jian Wushuang muttered. In the main hall, all the experts and leaders witnessed the scolding of He Qi. The scolding was coarse, but it made sense. Another figure stood up. It was another clan leader, whose abilities were not any lesser than the Blackbone clan's. But what was different was that this clan resided within the ancient god sanctuary and followed the ancient god clan faithfully. Oh, ancient emperor, I think we all understand what you mean. The black millstone was obviously made to destroy the entire eternal chaotic world, not just the human domains. Thankfully, the experts from the Sanctuary Alliance were able to stop it. Consequences would be dire if it had not happened. Therefore, if we special tribes don't form an alliance with the Human Sanctuary Alliance, once the 3 Emperors' word destroys the Sanctuary Alliance, we special tribes will certainly be their next target. Please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 2086, Special Tribes Alliance. You're right. One of the leaders from a special tribe stood up and said, this tribe had no prior connection with either the ancient god clan or the sky-swallowing clan. He continued solemnly, we had our suspicions that the 3-Emperor world was up to no good when the Sanctuary Alliance sent us the message. I have already held my own meeting with a few clans before today. Furthermore, the experts in my clan are prepared and ready for what is to come. All we need is a leader to lead us into battle. If the ancient God Emperor is willing to lead us, we will fight alongside you in this battle. The various clan leaders spoke the truth. When the Sanctuary Alliance sent out the warning, most of the clans started their preparation for war. However, the special tribes were different from the Sanctuary Alliance. They did not have an organization. Even if the clans were willing to fight, there was no one to round them up and organize a fighting force. It would be difficult for the individual clans to make any moves as it was too dangerous. During these times of crisis, the 4 top-tier clans would usually step up and gather the different clans to fight together. However, the actions of the 4 top-tier clans this time were mysterious. Furthermore, there were differences in power even though all 4 clans were categorized as top-tier clans. Among the special tribes, all that a clan needed to have to be classified as top-tier was for them to have a certain number of almighty and at least one great emperor around. Clans like the God-Eater clan and the Black Water Dragon barely made the cut to be categorized as a top-tier clan. Even though they wanted to organize a fighting force, their influence was limited compared to the other 2 top-tier clans, the Ancient God Clan and the Sky-Swallowing Clan. The Ancient God Clan and the Sky-Swallowing Clan were the legitimate rulers among the special tribes. They were far more powerful and had a stronger foundation compared to the initial two clans. Furthermore, there was more than one great emperor within each clan. For example, within the ancient God clan, there had been two great emperors since the earliest days. King Zhang and Jian Wushuang eventually joined their ranks to make the clan even stronger. Even though there were not many people from the sky-swallowing clan, they were definitely powerful. According to myths, they had as many as 3 great emperors. Under normal circumstances, as long as any of these top-tier clans would step up and take the lead, it would be enough to gather the special tribes. However, the 2 top-tier clans did not take the lead. Ancient God clan had just had a civil war, and no one knew what the mysterious sky-swallowing clan was doing. It was not until after the end of their civil war, when the new ancient God emperor, Jian Wushuang, gathered the various leaders of the special tribes. Most of these leaders were already willing to participate in the fight. The remaining leaders made up their minds when they saw the dark millstone. Ancient God Emperor, my clan is willing to fight. My clan will fight too. Voices of different leaders echoed out as they stood up to show their willingness to fight. Even the leaders of the 2 remaining top-tier clans, the Black Water Dragon clan and the God Eater clan, declared that they would fight. All who had yet to declare their stance among the crowd was Sky Swallowing clan and the Blackbone clan. At the banquet, the various leaders and experts looked at the quiet Ba Su. Jian Wushuang shifted his view and looked at Ba Su as well. Mr. Ba Su, what is the stance of the Sky Swallowing clan? Jian Wushuang asked politely. Ba Su looked up slightly and smiled devilishly. He spoke. The 3 emperors' world is the common enemy of the eternal chaotic world. Since everyone here is willing to fight, the Sky-Swallowing clan will definitely fight together with everyone. When the battle starts, we will be at the forefront. Oh, Jian Wushuang squinted his eyes slightly. Be at the forefront of the battlefront. What an empty promise. Jian Wushuang thought to himself silently. Ancient God Emperor, even though everyone here has agreed to fight, how are we going to do it? We can't possibly do our own things when the battle starts, right? Ba Su looked at Jian Wushuang devilishly and asked, Yes, Mr. Ba Su is right. Since we are going to ally with the Sanctuary Alliance to fight, we need to find a way to properly unite. I suggest that we emulate the humans and form a special tribes alliance. What do all of you think of this idea? Jian Wushuang smiled. Special tribes alliance. The various leaders and top-tier experts looked at each other and started discussing. Within moments, they managed to come to a consensus. Ancient God Emperor, we agree that we should form the Special Tribes Alliance, Black Water Dragon Emperor said. He was the leader of one of the 4 top-tier clans, the Black Water Dragon clan. The Black Water Dragon clan was a clan which had a long and rich history. Their leader, the Black Water Dragon Emperor, was a beautiful woman in black clothes. Even though she was beautiful, no one dared to look at her twice, as she was a famous viper. Furthermore, she was a powerful great emperor, and no one dared to disrespect her. The special tribes should have formed an alliance long ago. The Black Water Dragon Emperor laughed charmingly. Every other leader nodded their head in agreement. The leader of Blackbone clan He-Chi, who was reprimanded by Jian Wushuang, stood up and asked, The Blackbone clan has no objection in forming the Special Tribes Alliance. My concern is, who will be the leader of this alliance? Leader of this alliance? Everyone was stunned. The beauty in black clothing, the Black Water Dragon Emperor said, This alliance is made up of all the special tribes. There isn't a need for there to have one single leader. We can have 4 or 5 leaders who manage the Special Tribes Alliance together. Is this not better? Yes. All the experts present nodded their heads in agreement. If the alliance only had one leader, the leader would be far too powerful. If he was a selfish person or had a strong will, he would have complete control of the special tribes. This was not what all the special tribes wanted to see. He smirked coldly upon hearing this. It may be better if we have more leaders within the alliance, but do not forget that we are going to ally with Sanctuary Alliance. Chapter 2087 Leader of the Alliance. Everyone looked at He. He smiled lightly and continued, "Let's not go into the character traits of the humans. From what I know, the Sanctuary Alliance has 10 great emperors. They also have the unanimous strongest expert, Emperor Bai. Has everyone here heard of Emperor Bai?" Most of the leaders frowned when they heard this. They had definitely heard of Emperor Bai. Everyone within the eternal chaotic world regarded him as the strongest man, even those among the special tribes. If we ally with Sanctuary Alliance, our influence within this alliance won't be as strong as theirs, as we are slightly weaker. Emperor Bai can just overpower us if we discuss some matters within alliance. Who can stand against his might? What if they simply make their own decisions in the face of an emergency in the future without discussing it with us? What should we do? Hence, our special alliance needs a figurehead. This man needs to stand up to the pressure Emperor Bai and the Sanctuary Alliance to fight for our own rights. This man can come from one of the leaders in the Special Tribes Alliance. He doesn't need to have absolute power, but he must possess the ability to make on-the-spot decisions. We could have one main leader and a few co-leaders to supervise and aid in the running of the alliance. What does everyone feel about this? He said confidently. It sounded as though he had rehearsed it many times. The experts remained silent after they heard what He had said. After giving it some thought, they felt that what He said was right. Making decisions would take too long if there were too many leaders who had equal power, each giving their own opinions on the matter. Another factor to consider was whether the leader would give in to the pressure when facing Emperor Bai and the Sanctuary Alliance. Who do you think should take up the role of this leader if we were to adopt this style of leadership within the alliance? The beautiful black water dragon emperor in black clothing looked over at He and asked, "Ha. Like I said previously, the most important factor in becoming the leader of the Special Tribes Alliance is power and the ability to stand up to Emperor Bai. This has always been the practice of our tribes since ancient times, the strongest man becoming the leader. In my opinion, the most suitable person for this job is the leader of the Sky-Swallowing clan, Basu. He is the strongest man among the special tribes. He is the only person qualified to become the leader of the Special Tribes Alliance." Many of the experts nodded their heads in agreement after hearing what He had said. In the eternal chaotic world, your power determined your social status no matter where you were, even within the special tribes. Just like what He had said, the leader of the Sky-Swallowing clan, Basu, was the strongest man among the special tribes. He was even stronger than King Chunsheng. He met the conditions of being the leader of the alliance perfectly. He was the strongest man and was the leader of a top-tier clan. My clan is willing to support Ba-Su as the leader of the alliance. My clan is willing as well. Many of the leaders started to give their opinions. Many faces of many others, however, turned dark. People like the leader of the God Eater clan and the Black Water Dragon clan were gloomy. At the bottom of their hearts, they were extremely against the idea of Ba-Su becoming the leader of the alliance. This was because the Sky-Swallowing clan was a fierce clan that was ruled by force. The people of this clan could absorb the blood essence of the members of the other special tribes in order to become stronger. They would hunt the experts from the other clans frequently. More than half of the clans had had their members killed and devoured by the Sky-Swallowing clan. Many of those clans hated the sky-swallowing clan to the core. However, they were too weak to do anything. They were extremely unwilling for the leader of the sky-swallowing clan to be nominated to become the leader of the Special Tribes Alliance. Even though they were unwilling for this to happen, they did not dare to stand up and go against the sky-swallowing clan. That would be equal to shaming them. Most of the leaders present were in this predicament. They shifted their gazes to the three top-tier clans. They first scanned the leader of the God-Eater clan and the Blackwater Dragon clan before they shook their heads. They knew that even though those two were all top-tier clans, it would not be possible for them to stand up against the sky-swallowing clan. Hence, they all looked at their last hope, the Ancient God clan. It was the only clan that could stand against the sky-swallowing clan. Everyone set their sights on Jian Wushuang in anticipation. This included the leaders of the God-Eater clan and the Blackwater Dragon clan. As compared to the sky-swallowing clan, there were more willing for the Ancient God clan to be the leader of the Special Tribes Alliance. Jian Wushuang knew that everyone was looking at him, hopefully. He smirked coldly and looked at the leader of the Blackbone clan, He Qi, in the eyes. Clan leader He Qi, you just said that within the special tribes, everyone will look up to the strong. Hence, am I right to say only the strongest among us can become the leader of the alliance? Yes, the Ancient God clan has an extremely good reputation. You, too, as their leader, have the right to become the leader of the alliance. However, I heard that you became a 9-star Ancient God not too long ago. You will not be able to stand up against Emperor in terms of fighting power. Furthermore, you are far too young. This is why I chose to support Lord Ba Su. I seek your understanding, my lord. He Qi nodded his head and smiled. It's all right. What you said was reasonable. Without absolute power, who dares to become the leader of the alliance? However, one's power is not determined by what people say, but through a real fight. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly and replied, Mr. Ba Su, I have long heard that you are the undisputedly strongest man among the special tribes. Are you willing to have a brawl with me, since we are both here today? Please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 2088, Ba Su. Everyone at the banquet fell silent after hearing what Jian Wushuang had just said. Every expert was shocked beyond words. Even though the way he had said it was tactful, the meaning behind the words was clear. Jian Wushuang was challenging Ba Su. He was challenging the most powerful man among the special tribes. Even King Chen Xing, who was standing beside the Jian Wushuang, was stunned. He secretly transmitted a message to Jian Wushuang. Ancient God Emperor, Ba Su is an extremely strong opponent. I fought him years ago, and his fighting power was top tier amongst the Stage 2 Great Emperors. What if he even reaches the power level of a Stage 3 Great Emperor? If you were to fight him, what if... No worries. Jian Wushuang waved him off. His eyes were still set on Ba Su as he smiled. What will your reply be, Mr. Ba Su? Everyone shifted their vision to Ba Su. They anticipated his reply. Even though most of the experts hated the sky-swallowing clan, they still had to admit that Ba Su was the strongest man. The only person who could barely come close in a fight was King Chen Xing. No one knew much about the new Ancient God Emperor. Could he really go toe-to-toe against Ba Su? Ba Su smiled creepily. He looked at Jian Wushuang and replied, Since it's a request from the Ancient God Emperor, why would I reject? Please follow me. Jian Wushuang stood up and flew towards a vast space. Ba Su smiled indifferently as he followed suit. They stood facing each other in the vast space. The crowd looked at them, excited. On one side was the new Ancient God Emperor. On the other was the leader of the Sky-Swallowing clan. Both of them had enormous power within their respective clans. This battle was much anticipated. Most of the experts, from the bottom of their hearts, hoped that Jian Wuxiang would win. The outcome of this battle determined the leader of the Special Tribes Alliance. I don't care if I became the leader of the alliance, as long as the experts in the Special Tribes are willing to help in dealing with the Three Emperors' world. However, no one from the Sky-Swallowing clan can be the leader. Jian Wuxiang stood there motionless. He looked at Ba Su as his gaze turned cold. He had just gotten word from the Sanctuary Alliance that the Sky-Swallowing clan was working with the Acheron Palace secretly. Who knew what would happen if they became the leader of the alliance? Hence, anyone could become the leader of the alliance. Anyone but Ba Su. Mr. Ba Su, let's fight, Jian Wuxiang said indifferently. Ba Su had a playful grin on his face. He thought to himself, if I can successfully become the leader of the Special Tribes Alliance, more than half of the plans my clan have will be complete. What follows will be much easier. As for the ancient god emperor, he thinks too highly of himself. Ba Su did not take Jian Wuxiang seriously. He had gotten to know things about Jian Wuxiang through Acheron Palace. He knew that Jian Wuxiang had fighting power equivalent to that of a stage 2 great emperor. He would be on par, or just a little stronger than King Chunxing. He was not worried at all. I will not go easy on you. From the looks of it, you are really confident, my dear ancient god emperor. Ba Su smiled coldly. Right then, HUM. A wave of exceptionally strong bloodline power radiated from Ba Su as stripes of golden secret restrictions appeared on his face. His body turned from that of a normal human into that of an enormous golden bat. The same secret restrictions appeared all over the body of the bat. A bat, Jian Wuxiang thought to himself. The first member of the Sky-Swallowing clan he met could also turn into a bat. However, that bat did not possess a pure bloodline power. His fighting power was pathetic. The Sky-Swallowing bat in front of Jian Wuxiang was completely gold. Ba Su, too, had the bloodline power of an emperor. This Ba Su, he revealed his true form since the beginning. What an overbearing aura. Is this the power of the strongest man among the Special Tribes? Many of the spectators showed fear when they saw the golden bat. Ba Su's face was covered with golden secret restrictions. He thought to himself, I shall not waste time. I will end this battle fast and defeat him. Ba Su opened his mouth, suddenly as a glint of cruelty flashed across his eyes. Screech! A stern hiss was heard as it reverberated through the air. This high-pitched sound was painful for the ears. Most of the audience could not help but cover their ears. Jian Wuxiang felt an overpowering energy swept over him, without any warning as the sound was heard. This is soul attack. Jian Wuxiang turned pale. His self-defense mechanism was so strong that he was basically unkillable. However, his soul was not very powerful. This soul attack was the strongest attack Jian Wuxiang had ever encountered. This attack was too sudden, and Jian Wuxiang was not prepared for it. It was obvious that he was slow in trying to protect himself against this attack. By the time he had recovered from the attack, his head was still spinning. He saw a golden claw appear in front of him. It was as though the golden claw was a bolt of golden lightning. It tore the void apart mercilessly. There was nothing obstructing its path as the claw swept over Jian Wuxiang. A terrifying aura and tearing force erupted from the attack. Under the influence of the aura, Jian Wuxiang turned into a meteorite and crashed down towards the ground. Bang! The entire earth shook, and a large crater was formed. Jian Wuxiang lay at the bottom of the crater, lifeless. Every audience was shocked. Ancient God Emperor. The experts from the ancient god clan panicked. Ba Su stood tall on the void above the crater. He reverted back into human form. He mocked, "I thought that the new ancient god emperor could at least put up a fight. I did not expect him to be so weak." The entire ancient god clan was enraged upon hearing this. Right then, "Mr. Ba Su, isn't it too early to celebrate?" Jian Wushuang said suddenly. "Please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 2089, a pitched battle, Ba Su's gaze shifted. The many experts turned towards the source of the sound. Below the pit hole, a towering figure slowly rose. It was Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang rose without a scratch. His divine power could be subtly seen surrounding him. He was no different than before. "He's not hurt." Ba Su was astonished. You must know, the Golden Claw's move took Ba Su all his strength. Even if the opponent was King Qinsheng, he would have been badly hurt. But Jian Wushuang came out unscathed. In terms of the strength of their divine bodies, Jian Wushuang obviously emerged stronger. Jian Wushuang rose once again to the void, eyes fixed on Ba Su. King Qinsheng was right. This Ba Su is impressive. Putting his soul attack aside, those golden claws are enough to place him on the pinnacle second stage Great Emperor level. If all this happened before I entered the ancient emperor's residence, I probably wouldn't have stood a chance. But now, Jian Wushuang let out a cheeky smile. And at that moment, pew, 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 6 streaks of golden light were instantly released. These 6 streaks were like 6 golden meteors cutting across the sky. It was too fast. Ba Su, in one focused breath, blocked it with one palm. Dang, 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 dang. The 6 streaks of golden light all bounced away, but the brutality of Jian Wushuang's impact forced Ba Su to pace back a few steps. The Hongjun Golden Sword was used with space-time powers. As his understanding of space-time increased immensely, he was able to use the 6th Golden Sword, both its speed and attack increasing along. The Hongjun Golden Sword, at its full force, was enough to go against a second-stage Great Emperor. This were 6 of such golden swords attacking simultaneously. Even pinnacle second stage Great Emperor level Ba Su dared not underestimate it. Importantly, the Hongjun Golden Swords were known for their speed. Immediately after the swords were bounced back, they stopped and started charging towards Ba Su once again. Frenzy attacks again and again and again. The 6 Hongjun Golden Swords kept on going. Ba Su originally did not take the swords to heart, but as he reflected the swords and the swords kept coming back, his face darkened. At this moment, Jian Wushuang took a sudden step. As he started pacing himself, his body grew to 9 or 10 feet tall, 9 heads, and 18 arms appeared as well. An earth-shattering aura of might was approaching. The publicly recognized forte of the ancient god clan was its close combat abilities. Jian Wushuang obviously wanted to use this to engage in a full-on slaughter. Jian Wushuang held tight to his 18 long swords and started cutting in a frenzy. This was together with the 6 frenzied Hongjun Golden Swords. With that and the close combat abilities, it was the perfect combination. Savage, ruthless. Jian Wushuang's fighting power was fully demonstrated at that moment. Crap! Ba Su was no longer composed like had been before. He was astonished. Previously, he had not bothered about this newborn ancient god, Emperor Jian Wushuang, but now, Jian Wushuang's fully released fighting power brought tremendous stress to Ba Su, especially the combination of the swords and his close combat abilities. That swordsmanship was brutal and forceful. He could not find any openings. His divine power was bursting with life, his bloodline power at its optimum, yet he was still suppressed by Jian Wushuang. Completely suppressed. He let the brutal ruthless Jian Wushuang suppress him, he could not find any way out. The close combat abilities of the ancient god clan are too terrifying, along with his swords. If this goes on, I'll lose. My masterstroke, then. A fierce glare could be seen as Ba Su snarled. As the leader of the sky-swallowing clan, a pinnacle second-stage great emperor, of course he had more tricks up his sleeve. On the battlefield, while Ba Su was still being suppressed by Jian Wushuang, Ba Su made a quick retreat and flew out like a golden bat once again. Li, it was the same ear-piercing pitch that resonated across the battlefield. Within that cry, a strong soul attack was making its way towards Jian Wushuang. This move again. Jian Wushuang's face darkened, but this time he was well prepared, using his substantive soul to build many barriers of defense. At the same time, his 5-gem armor started to let out a strange light. The 5-gem armor was placed in Jian Wushuang's hands by the ancient era expert Wu Hun. Its might was formidable, despite being damaged, not just targeting substantive defense. It also provided a certain amount of protection against soul attacks. The frenzied soul attack was approaching. HNGH. Jian Wushuang snorted. He felt a sharp pain in his soul, but this time he did not fall into that state of inattentiveness. His consciousness was absolutely awake. Immediately, he saw Ba Su's attack approaching. Golden lightning elemental barrier. Hung, a bucket-thick golden streak of light blasted towards Jian Wushuang. This golden streak of light was filled with golden lightning. One streak of it looked enough to wreak devastating havoc. And that golden streak of light was a flawless combination of millions and millions of flashes of golden lightning. As he watched the golden streak of light approach him, Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold with death. Dissipate. One thunderous roar shook the void. An astonishing sword essence rose from Jian Wushuang, with 4 hands holding the same spear. This pure divine power, along with 9-star ancient clan-level bloodline power, were all fully deployed. Hung, an astonishing sword light striked. It went face-to-face with that golden streak of light. Chi, chi, chi. There was no dramatic roar or bang. It was as if the blade of a sword ran itself across a towering mountain. That thick golden streak of light that went on for tens of feet, a clean slice from the sword light. The power dissipated in all directions. What? Ba Su's face changed instantly. Golden lightning elemental barrier, my strongest technique, was taken down in one strike. Chapter 2090, defeat. He's so strong. Ba Su was astonished. He received a bit of information regarding Jian Wushuang's background via the Archilon Palace. He knew Jian Wushuang had second-stage Great Emperor-level fighting powers. But according to them, Jian Wushuang was not the strongest among second-stage Great Emperors, a tad away from being a pinnacle emperor, whereas on the other hand, Ba Su was a pinnacle second-stage Great Emperor, one of the best around. He should have defeated Jian Wushuang easily. But the power Jian Wushuang had demonstrated, perfection, this is definitely the second stage's limit, almost hitting third stage. This fighting power, it's more powerful than mine. Ba Su clenched his fists. Hung. A loud roar could be heard. Ba Su turned around to see where it came from. Jian Wushuang had already made it through that divine power storm and was now in front of him. Ba Su, that move should have been everything you've got right. Jian Wushuang chuckled. Now that you've used your final skill, it's my turn to return the favor. As he spoke, a billowing divine power was emerging from Jian Wushuang. At the same time, a boundless time-space power was spreading. Jian Wushuang stared into the void where Ba Su was. This move was the previous ancient god emperor's favorite, recognized as the strongest move within my clan. I wonder how well it works. With a tinge of excitement, Jian Wushuang made his move. The ancient skill, moon-picking skill. Wong. Time and space shook. The billowing time-space power covered the void, where Ba Su was, locking the entire area up. Walala, like Jian Wushuang had demonstrated. The first thing Ba Su faced was the immediate pressure from the surrounding time-space. This was much stronger than what Jian Wushuang had demonstrated previously. Even a pinnacle second-stage great emperor like Ba Su, under this immense pressure from the surrounding space-time, could not help but face unprecedented pressure on his body. He felt as if he did not belong to this time-space. This was a first for Ba Su. What move was that? Ba Su was secretly shocked. He did not feel like he belonged to that time-space. And this was just the beginning. As Ba Su was completely pinned down by the surrounding time-space, a palm formed completely from divine power appeared out of thin air. The palm did not feel destructive or threatening. It felt familiar and warm instead, like a mother's hands. That hand gently touched the void and slowly made its way towards Hafiz. This pluck would be like plucking lilies from the pond, gentle, docile. Imagine making great pains to let the flower bloom. This palm was about to reap its gains. Finally, it looked so natural, so relaxed. This scene was unbelievable to almost all experts and Ba Su himself in the field. Ba Su struggled even harder, attempting to escape before the palm plucked him. But no matter how desperately he struggled, he could not escape. He could only watch the palm cover him. Wong, wong, wong. A faint sound was ringing across the void before it went silent again. The palm had vanished. The void was now unchained and back to normal. Ba Su remained standing in the middle of the void. What was different this time? Ba Su now looked pale, the corner of his lip still oozing blood, his inner strength much weaker than it had been before he left. He took much damage from the pluck. Everyone watched in astonishment. Even Jian Wushuang himself was pretty shocked. Going against the pinnacle second-stage great emperor Ba Su, Jian Wushuang still managed to hold the upper ground against him, but he thought it would be hard to hurt him. According to his own estimations, unless he used his trump card, it would be hard to hurt Ba Su at all. But in the end, moon-picking skill, indeed ancient god emperor's proudest move, Jian Wushuang praised. This skill alone was enough to seriously injure Ba Su. Most importantly, this complete secret skill was only just imparted to Jian Wushuang, so he could only utilize 3/10 of the skill at this time. Only 30%, but already so powerful. With my capabilities now, with the moon-picking skill, I can resist a full blow from a third-stage great emperor with this alone. Once I fully master it, even the third-stage great emperors won't dare to underestimate me. Most importantly, this skill is so profound, it's impossible to block it. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists. On the battlefield, Jian Wushuang stood in front of Ba Su once again, staring cheekily. Another round, Mr. Ba Su? Ba Su looked horrendous. As much as he refused to believe it, he had already lost pathetically. Face to face, Jian Wushuang's 6 Hongjun golden swords and close combat abilities were enough to completely suppress him. And with that final move, Jian Wushuang decimated him. Unless he did not value his life that much, it would have been impossible to defeat Jian Wushuang. That would not happen. Even if he went all out, there was no guarantee Jian Wushuang had no more tricks up his sleeve. I've lost this round. From today onwards, you are the strongest amongst the special tribes. Ba Su's voice trembled as he spoke. Jian Wushuang gave a satisfied smile. The countless experts around were all still in shock. Before the battle, although they were all excited, most of them did not think Jian Wushuang would win. After all, Ba Su's reputation of being the best had lasted for decades. He was recognized by all as undefeatable, a near legend. It was too difficult to defeat him, but now the new ancient god emperor had defeated him. Chapter 2091 Alliance Chief. Impressive, the new ancient god emperor. So impressive. The best, the true expert amongst us special tribes. Since he defeated Ba Su, the position of Alliance Chief goes to. The experts all looked at each other weirdly. Most of them could not contain their excitement. The Black Dragon Emperor of the Black Dragon Clan was the first to stand up. As we have decided just now, the stronger expert that emerges will lead us. Since the ancient emperor has defeated Ba Su, the position of Alliance Chief of this special tribe's alliance belongs to him. The Black Dragon Clan fully supports this. The Black Dragon Emperor was the first. Next was the God Eater clan's leader. We God Eaters support him too. So does my clan. The ancient God Emperor has proved himself both in power and position. Our clan has no objections. One by one the clan leaders and experts spoke. Amongst these people, most of them did not want Ba Su to win anyway. Within moments, almost 9/10 of the crowd approved Jian Wushuang. The other smaller, more insignificant clans naturally joined in the crowd. The Sky-Swallowing Clan and the Blackbone Clan remained. Ba Su of the Sky-Swallowing Clan's twisted face managed to squeeze a thin smile as the crowd all looked towards him. He swallowed his indignity and said, "The ancient god emperor is indeed strong, slightly stronger than me. I have no objections to him being chief." With Ba Su having no objections, the Blackbone Clan naturally followed. Now, Jian Wushuang had received approval from all the clans. The position of chief naturally fell upon his shoulders. Since everyone here supports this decision, I will not go against it. Jian Wushuang smiled. After the position of chief was settled, the positions of deputy chief were discussed, along with the battle preparations. The discussion with the other experts took half a day. In total, 5 deputy chiefs emerged, with 3 of them coming from the other 3 top clans. The remaining positions were filled by other powerful and well-respected clans. The Special Tribes Alliance was officially formed. Everyone, the discussion will end here. After you have returned, please make the preparations as soon as possible. Within a decade, we must be ready. From there, I will link up with the Humans Sanctuary Alliance. Also, I will inform them to build space tunnels from each region and domain directly to the battlefield. Dismissed. With a wave of Jian Wushuang's hand, the many experts gradually left. The ancient god clan remained in the Great Hall. Jian Wushuang gathered King Chenxing, King Luoyu, and King Zhansang. King Chenxing, have the experts left? Jian Wushuang asked. Some of them are in no rush, but most of them have left, King Chenxing replied. What about the Sky-Swallowing Clan? Jian Wushuang continued. The Sky-Swallowing Clan left right after the ceremony. They were the first to leave. King Chenxing replied. What's the rush? Jian Wushuang laughed. He would not have been surprised if other clans had rushed back. But the Sky-Swallowing Clan, this time, during the ceremony, the Sky-Swallowing Clan obviously had plans for themselves. Ba Su seemed to have kept silent in the beginning, but he was simply getting Hei Qi from the Blackbone Clan to speak on his behalf instead. He didn't want us special tribes to place any importance on the issue, but after he realized nothing could stop us from engaging in this battle, he did everything to form a special tribes alliance with one main chief. Obviously, this position of chief was meant for himself. He needed to be chief. If I had not interfered and defeated Ba Su, with his strength and recognition amongst others, he would have become chief instead. The consequences of this are unimaginable. Jian Wushuang mumbled. Jian Wushuang had only suspected the Sky-Swallowing Clan in the beginning, But now he was almost sure that the clan had ties with the Archilon Palace. Perhaps they had even pledged allegiance to the Archilon Palace. Under these circumstances, letting Ba Su of the Sky-Swallowing clan become chief would mean losing the battle already. Even though their plans did not work out, the Sky-Swallowing clan will not rest here. They will make their next move. Jian Wushuang squinted for a bit and looked down towards King Qinsheng. King Qinsheng, make preparations. I want eyes on that clan from today onwards. Report any action, no matter how small it may seem. Take note of the other special tribes as well. Understood. King Qinsheng obliged. King Luo Yu, Jian Wushuang looked towards him. Now that the special tribes have started making their preparations, we ourselves cannot fall behind. Gather the strongest experts we have. This will be my task for you. No problem. King Luo Yu nodded. You're all dismissed. Jian Wushuang waved his hand. The 3 9-star ancient emperors went away to make the necessary preparations. Jian Wushuang continued to sit there and started transmitting something to Emperor Bai. Sky-Swallowing Sanctuary, deep in their lair, in the dusky void. Clan leader Ba Su, you really messed up this time. Because of you, all our well-thought plans have all been flushed down the drain. The eerie black-robed man stood there, his voice seemingly depressed. HNGH, this was indeed partially my fault, but do you think the Archilon Palace had no responsibility either? The information you gave me was that Jian Wushuang was no more than a simple second-stage Great Emperor. But what happened? His abilities are pinnacle second-stage Great Emperor level. If not for your inaccurate information, would I have fought face-to-face with him? I would never have just given the position of chief away to that brat. Ba Su replied. Hearing this, the black-robed man fell silent. Please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 29. Oh, to all in. Jian Wushuang's abilities were indeed incredible. Back at the 3 Emperors' world, the fighting power he demonstrated was indeed of a decent second-stage Great Emperor level, but not the pinnacle. From then till now, how long had it been? Jian Wushuang had even defeated the pinnacle second-stage Great Emperor Ba Su face-to-face. Compare that to when Jian Wushuang had just arrived in 3 Emperors' world. Too fast. Jian Wushuang has improved too fast. At this rate, he won't take long before he reaches Emperor Bai's level. That would be a great disturbance to the Archilon Palace. The black-robed man said solemnly, Why are you wasting time then? Have you came up with a plan to remove Jian Wushuang yet? Is that not what the Archilon Palace is known for? Ba Su bawled. To kill Jian Wushuang. The black-robed man thought for a while before shaking his head. He is not the Jian Wushuang of yesterday. With such protection skills, it would prove too difficult to kill him. Maybe it would have been possible before he surpassed the 7th step of inverse cultivation, but it's too late for that now. The black-robed man was helpless. Indeed, they had missed the golden opportunity to kill Jian Wushuang. Now that Jian Wushuang's wings had spread, it was almost impossible to slay him. HNGH, what was the Archilon Palace doing in the beginning? Ba Su questioned. Enough, there is nothing we can do to change the past. It has already happened. Jian Wushuang becoming chief of the Special Tribes Alliance and all, the black-robed man said. The window for you to become chief has long closed. Now, we need to count on Plan B. Plan B? Ba Su's pupils shrank. He knew what the black-robed man was referring to. We're not prepared yet. Using Plan B, is that not a bit too hasty? Ba Su frowned. We have no choice. If we wait for the special clans to unite their forces with the Sanctuary Alliance, it will be too late. We may not be well prepared. The plan may not be perfect, but it's all or nothing now, the black-robed man replied. All in, Huh. Ba Su found his well-needed determination. Okay then, I'll make the preparations. Go then, the Archleon Palace will make its move now. With that, the black-robed man took out his token and gave the orders. A God-Eater sanctuary of the God-Eater clan. Within the sanctuary grounds, there were countless special tribes of different strengths besides the God-Eater clan. At this moment, they had all gathered. Two figures were pacing around. During the recent ancient God clan's coronation, all clans unanimously agreed upon the creation of the Special Tribes Alliance with the new ancient God Emperor as chief. We, the Fire Edge clan, as part of the alliance, do not have enough Almighties. According to the chief, if a clan has more than 10 Almighties, 1 or 2 may stay behind. But my clan only has 3 Almighties, so all of us have to fight, the red-haired middle-aged man said. All 3? With no Almighty to guard our clan? What happens if our clan finds itself in trouble? A lad in black asked. As the chief mentioned, he will connect the clans and the Sanctuary Alliance with space tunnels. If anything happens within the clan, we can come back immediately, the red-haired man replied. That's not too bad then. The black-shirt lad nodded. But something was wrong. His eyes hinted at something sinister. Clan leader, I'm afraid you won't be able to join this battle, the black-shirt lad said. Ha! The red-haired middle-aged man turned around, only to see the black-shirt lad's ferocious eyes staring at him. Before he could say anything, a cold dagger plunged into the red-haired man's chest at lightning speed. Crap! At this moment of life and death, the red-haired man immediately activated his armor and blocked the dagger. But the dagger had already pierced the man's skin. This was enough for the man's face to completely change. He could feel a terrifying, corrosive power seeping through his body from that bit of skin. Poison? You. The red-haired, middle-aged man looked at the black-shirt lad, unable to believe what had happened. The lad grinned hideously before making his departure. In the void above a clan's lair, several black shadows stood in line. These 10-odd men each let out a terrifying aura, for they were all Almighties above Sir God level. There was even one Emperor God. These black-robed men stared at the massive clan in front of them, their eyes icy cold. In moments, these 10-odd men floated towards the clan. Hung. A terrifying blow was heard, and thus began the massacre. Within ancient God sanctuary grounds, the Purple Snake clan, a mid-tier clan without experts of Emperor God levels, but which possessed 5 Sir Gods. Now, these 5 Sir Gods and many more experts under them gathered, but they did not gather for the battle against the 3 Emperors' world, but for the other huge mid-tier clan in front of them. That clan had had great animosity against the Purple Snake clan for a long period of time. Their hatred had grown to a point of no return. Purple Snake clan leader, the time is now. We can make our move. A black-robed figure within the crowd smiled. What about your men? The leader of the Purple Snake clan asked. Relax. Once you've made your move, the experts we inserted into the other clan will make their move too. You have our full support. Good. The leader smiled and looked towards the masses behind him. Clansmen, the time to cleanse our shame and take our revenge for our ancestors has arrived. Take your weapons and kill them all. Kill. Kill. The many experts from the Purple Snake clan charged towards the other clan ferociously. The 2 clans began their frenzy. Slaughter after slaughter from all over the 4 sanctuaries began almost simultaneously. The entire Special Tribes domain was in a mess. Please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 2093, Chaos. Within the 4 sanctuaries, while the brawl between Special Tribes was in full swing, in the Great Hall of the Ancient God Clan, Ancient Emperor, I bring news from the other tribes. Many tribes now are in a complete mess. King Qin Shing reported solemnly. What exactly happened? Jian Wushuang asked. The Special Tribes Alliance was already formed. All that needed to happen was for the tribes to gather their strength and prepare for battle. Yet, at such a crucial period of time, this had happened. We do not know the specifics, but information from the tribes shows some sort of mutiny within themselves, slaughtering one another. Other tribes report sudden assaults from foreign clans, especially from those with a past grudge. Some of them were attacked by black-robed experts. Many tribes are in a wreck now. Fights are happening everywhere. Some of them can't take the pressure and have requested for us to send some of our own experts over. Jian Wushuang's face darkened upon hearing that. It's the Archilon Palace. Jian Wushuang's fists clenched uncontrollably. HNGH, I thought they could only infiltrate the human domains, but now they've influenced our special tribes as well. They have done it so well. One movement from them was enough to create such big waves. From the current severity of it, Jian Wushuang was sure it was the doing of Archilon Palace. Such brilliant infiltration within the eternal chaotic world. Only the Archilon Palace could have done it. What about the other three big clans? How are they? They're doing fine. God Eater clan saw its own share of mutiny. However, along with the attack of the Black Robes. But it's nothing the God Eaters cannot handle. As for the Sky Swallowing clan and the Black Dragon clan, all is calm, King Chunxing replied. Oh, Jian Wushuang frowned. He understood the Sky Swallowers' inactivity, but the Black Dragons. King Chunxing, get your people to keep an eye on the others, especially the Sky Swallowing clan. If my calculations are correct, they will make their move soon, Jian Wushuang said. Make their move? Why? King Chunxing and the others were puzzled. They had never suspected the Sky Swallowing clan. Jian Wushuang fell silent for a moment before he replied, I previously received information from Emperor Bai of the Human Sanctuary Alliance. The Sky Swallowing clan's movements have become increasingly suspicious, and they have interacted with experts of the Archilon Palace. Add that to how they behaved during the coronation. I'm almost certain they have colluded with the Archilon Palace, perhaps even following them. What? King Chunxing, King Luoyu, King Zhansong were all astonished. The Sky Swallowing clan colluding with the Archilon Palace? If this information were correct, it would prove to be a devastating blow to the special tribes. After all, the Sky Swallowers were part of the top 4 special tribes, just next to the ancient gods. The Sky Swallowing clan was so formidable and so influential within the special tribes domain. Things are not as simple as they seem because of this, Jian Wushuang mumbled before lifting his head once again. King Zhansong. Oh, great emperor. King Zhansong immediately took a bow. Take some experts from our clan and dispatch them to others that require our help. You will lead this team, and be quick about it. We do not have much time. Crises that cannot be mediated, you are allowed to settle them in your own way. Kill every single black robe you meet along the way as well. Do not hesitate, Jian Wushuang murmured. Understood, King Zhansong replied. Ancient Emperor, with everything that's going on, we have more than 10 tribes alone asking us for help. Will King Zhansong's team be enough? King Luoyu frowned. It won't be, but we don't have a choice, Jian Wushuang replied coldly. It's normal for these tribes to seek my help as Special Tribes Alliance Chief, but it is not possible for me to help them all at once, especially during times like these. Let them handle some stress on their own, for now. It's only been some small-scale mutiny and black robe attacks after all. If they can't handle this much on their own after having existed for so long, I don't see why they should continue to exist. And we have more important things to do. King Chunxing, Jian Wushuang looked towards him. Prepare a small team of elite experts. Quality over quantity. They will follow me out. Ancient Emperor, you're going out? King Chunxing And King Luo, you looked towards Jian Wushuang. Yeah, Jian Wushuang nodded. King Luo, you will run the ancient god clan in my absence. Even though King Zhansong and I have taken quite a few experts, there are many more 7-star experts that will remain, along with you, the 9-star ancient god. It should be enough to mitigate any crisis. Indeed, rest assured, King Luo, you replied. Jian Wushuang nodded, and soon took off. Within the ancient god clan, Jian Wushuang and King Chun Xing formed a line in front of the enormous wormhole. Behind them were several more figures. Among these figures were the familiar King Gu Yu and King Gu Tong brothers, and 6 more 8-star ancient gods behind them. The remainder were 7-starred. This was a pretty strong team. Ancient Emperor, where are we heading? King Chun Xing asked. To the Black Dragon Sanctuary. Jian Wushuang replied directly. The Black Dragon Sanctuary? King Chun Xing flinched. That sanctuary is controlled by the Black Dragon clan, and they've been relatively quiet as of now. Is this necessary? Haha, is because the Black Dragon clan has been too quiet. We have to make haste. Jian Wushuang was sure. He had an instinct something was happening at the Black Dragon clan. Please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 2094, The Black Dragon Clan. The Black Dragon Clan became one of the top 4 clans with their formidable abilities and presence of great emperors. Normally, it would be hard to shake such a clan. But Jian Wushuang knew how the Archilon Palace operated. The Archilon Palace had infiltrated other clans for ages. Their influence was unimaginable. The Vientiane Tower at the human domain, built by the Archilon Palace from the bottom up. They were even able to nurture a great emperor, placing him within the highest ranks of the Sanctuary Alliance. Within the Special Tribes domain, the Archilon Palace should have laid their own groundwork a long time ago too. If they had truly begun, the top 4 clans would have been affected to a certain degree. The Sky Swallowing clan had most likely defected towards the Archilon Palace, however, so it was normal for nothing to have happened amongst themselves. The Ancient God clan was too powerful, with 4 great emperors alone, along with the pinnacle 2nd stage great emperor Jian Wushuang, was the head. Even if they had infiltrated the clan to a certain degree, it could not possibly affect things much. But when it came to the Black Dragon clan and the God Eater clan, the Archilon Palace were definitely able to disturb them. Only the Black Dragon clan was not affected by everything going around. It was too quiet. This level of quiet was disturbing enough for Jian Wushuang to check it out. We are heading for the Black Dragon Sanctuary. Keep this a secret, Jian Wushuang instructed. Understood, King Chun Xing nodded, after which experts led by Jian Wushuang and King Chun Xing headed towards the Black Dragon Sanctuary via wormhole. Stepping into the sanctuary, they immediately headed towards the Black Dragon clan. At the same moment, at a void above the Black Dragon clan lair, massive amounts of people congregated in that one single spot and floated. They all emitted impressive auras, the weakest of which was already at Sir God level. At a glance, there were more than 200 people there. Within these 200-odd experts, Black Dragon experts made up 7/10 of it. The remainder of them were black-robed Archilon Palace experts. In front of the pack stood the Black Dragon clan leader Ba Su and a black-robed Eerie Elder from the Archilon Palace. News from within the ancient God clan. King Zhansong has brought several experts to assist the other tribes. The black-robed elder spoke. Just Zhansong? Where's King Chun Xing, King Luo Yu, and that Jian Wushuang? Ba Su frowned. I don't know. The elder shook his head. The ancient God clan is different from others. They worship bloodline over anything else, not even ability. They have absolute loyalty for their emperor. This makes it difficult for Archilon Palace to infiltrate. All this time, we still were not able to get into their top ranks. It's impossible to know where they have gone. But if my predictions are correct, that ancient emperor should still be at the ancient god clan. HNGH, stay there for all he wants. Bah, Su gave a sneering laugh. He thought getting someone to spy on me would be enough. They underestimated us. Sky Swallowing Clan, as one of the top clans around, naturally had their own tactics. They knew the ancient god clan had been spying on them all this time, yet they were still able to avoid surveillance. Like right now, almost 9/10 of Sky Swallowing experts were there, but the spy from the ancient god clan had no idea. It's time, let's make our move, Boss Su said. Yep, the black-robed elder nodded and waved his hand. Immediately, 4 black-robed figures went off in all 4 directions, but all were heading towards the void near the Black Dragon Clan's lair. Once they were in position, they each took out a transmission token. As they crushed the token, a formation that had already been prepared within the token immediately took over. It covered everything around, including the lair and the void. This formation was specially made by us, Archilon Palace. Not only does it lock space-time, it is also indestructible. Great emperors won't be able to lay a single scratch on it. With this, the Black Dragon Clan will never escape. The elder said, "Ha, wonderful." Boss Su was elated. With a wave of his hand, he said, "Let's go, guys, to the Black Dragon Clan." As Boss Su moved, the bloodthirsty, elated experts of the Sky Swallowing Clan followed. Within Black Dragon Clan's dark hall, a beautiful woman in black, the Black Dragon Emperor, sat on her throne looking down on the many Black Dragon experts. Much has happened since the formation of the Special Tribes Alliance. Obviously, there is something going on behind all this, and it also shows the Archilon Palace planned this a long time ago. Their goal now is to prevent the Alliance from joining the battle. According to the ancient god clan, clans and tribes of all abilities were affected, even the top clan God Eater clan. We of the Black Dragon Clan must be cautious at times like this. Pass the order down. The protective array will be activated to its maximum. In the meantime, any clansmen caught provoking one another or causing chaos and panic will all be cut down. The Black Dragon Emperor's voice sent shivers down spines. Understood, the experts all heeded. They all knew these were special times, and the Black Dragon Clan could not afford to be careless. But just at this moment, something happened. Hum! A loud roar resonated. It was like thunder with a second roar chasing behind. The entire Black Dragon Clan was taken aback. What's happening? Everyone in the hall, along with the Black Dragon Emperor, was stunned. This sound, someone's attacking our protective array. The Emperor's eyes turned cold. Move. Immediately, the experts all left. Please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 2095, Black Water Dragon Clan's Crisis. Boom, boom, boom. Waves of deafening attacks struck the formation, which protected the Black Water Dragon Clan. Each strike made the formation tremble. After a few attacks, the formation looked like it was going to collapse. By the time the experts from the Black Water Dragon Clan reacted and showed up in the sky, a large hole had been formed in the formation. Boom! Many figures, radiating an overbearing aura, rushed forth. The formation which protected my clan is destroyed. The space-time around this place is sealed off. They are trying to... The Black Water Dragon Emperor thought gloomily. She looked at the experts that were rushing into the formation. Soon, she spotted the leader. Basu, it's you? What does the Sky Swallowing Clan want to achieve by destroying the formation, which protected my clan? What do we want to do? Since you can become the leader of your clan, you shouldn't be an idiot. Black Water Dragon Emperor, can't you deduce what I'm here to do? Basu smiled coldly. the experts from the sky-swallowing clan were bloodthirsty and smiled excitedly. The people of the sky-swallowing clan became stronger by drinking the blood essence of the people of the other clans. The Black Water Dragon clan was one of the 4 top-tier clans. Their blood essence was of a high grade, and many of the sky-swallowing clan people craved it. Before the fallout, the people of the sky-swallowing clan could hardly have gotten a taste of it as they were careful of the other clan. Today, they finally had the chance to get a good meal. Damn it! The Black Water Dragon Emperor was enraged. She spoke when she saw the men in black robes. Looks like your sky-swallowing clan and the Acheron Palace are working together secretly. It was no wonder that you wanted to be the leader of the Special Tribes Alliance. If you became the leader, it would spell disaster for the Special Tribes Alliance. Humph. So, what if I did not become the leader of the alliance? Do you think the Special Tribes Alliance can still exist and ally with the Sanctuary Alliance? Even if they could, your Blackwater Dragon clan would not be there. Today, I will completely destroy your clan and feed on the blood essence of your people. Ba Su spoke emotionlessly. Attack! Kill everyone from the Blackwater Dragon clan. After the order from Ba Su, the densely packed people of the sky-swallowing clan and the men in black robes hovering behind him charged. Waves of terrifying aura radiated mercilessly in all directions. Members of the Black Water Dragon clan, listen up. Stop them at all cost. The Black Water Dragon Emperor roared as her voice reverberated within their entire clan. At that instant, many of the Black Water Dragon members roared in reply. Massive numbers of experts rushed forth from within the clan. Even though the Black Water Dragon clan was weaker as a top-tier clan as compared to the Sky-Swallowing clan and the Ancient God clan, their battle power was not to be looked down on. From the actions of the Sky-Swallowing clan, people can deduce that this was a battle that determined the fate of the clan. If the Blackwater Dragon clan did not stop them, the clan would cease to exist. No one on the Blackwater Dragon clan wished to see this, hence they gave it their all and fought. It was not just the Almighty. The real gods charged in bravely as well. As the leader of the Blackwater Dragon clan, the Blackwater Dragon Emperor led the charge. A terrifying aura burst forth as she went to meet Ba Su. Ha! Blackwater Dragon Emperor, your fighting power has grown since the last time we fought. You barely made the cut for a Stage 2 Great Emperor. It's a pity that this battle power will not be enough to stop me. Ba Su smirked as he displayed the fighting power of a top-tier Stage 2 Great Emperor. Even though the battle had just begun, he was already dominating the Blackwater Dragon Emperor. On the other side, the 2 great emperors formed the Sky-Swallowing clan charged into the crowd and began a massacre. Within moments, many Almighties died at their hands. The killing continued. Elder Zhong, the Blackwater Dragon Emperor, yelled fiercely. Her voice reverberated within the entire clan and even penetrated deep into the ground. At that instant, boom, an aura that obviously belonged to a great emperor rose from the depths. A man in gray clothes with a black marking on his forehead appeared before everyone. He was extremely ugly. He rushed to meet the 2 great emperors from the Sky-Swallowing clan and managed to go even against them even though he fought them alone. Oh, Ba Su was surprised when he saw this. I have heard that the Blackwater Dragon clan is the weakest clan among the 4 top-tier clans. This does not seem to be the case, at least on the highest level. Your clan is much stronger than the God-Eater clan. Besides you, your clan has another top-tier Stage 1 Great Emperor. This Great Emperor was never heard of before. You have hit him well. Humph! The Blackwater Dragon Emperor grunted, but did not reply. Elder Zhong was one of the hidden experts among the Blackwater Dragon clan. He was so old that even she, as the clan's leader, respected him a lot. Elder Zhong was not so powerful before. The reason why he could fight at the level of a top-tier stage one great emperor was because he had encountered an opportunity when he went into the new ancient battlefield. His power grew as he cultivated on return. This was why the Elder Zhong, now, was much stronger than before. He alone could stop two great emperors from the sky-swallowing clan. Ha! My dear Black Water Dragon Emperor, do you really think that you can stop the sky-swallowing clan just like this? You are too naive. No matter what others say, the Black Water Dragon clan is a top-tier clan. Their foundation is extremely solid. If I was not absolutely sure that I could destroy this clan, why would I attack? Basu scoffed. The Black Water Dragon Emperor turned pale. Following his laugh, two auras burst forth in the middle of the battlefield. Boom, boom. Two shocking auras were felt. What? The Black Water Dragon Emperor looked at the source of the aura. What she saw were two men in black robes. One of the men stood beside Ba Su. The auras that was radiated off their bodies were at the level of a great emperor. Two more great emperors? This. The Black Water Dragon Emperor was aghast. Including Ba Su, the sky-swallowing clan already had 3 great emperors. Now 2 more had joined their ranks. There would be 5 great emperors. How could the Black Water Dragon clan defend itself against this horrifying lineup of 5 great emperors and more than 200 almighties? Please go to read the latest chapters for free.